They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named number 1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971.
Critical thinking for critical times. The free exchange of ideas. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Download the radio.com app and stream the station wherever you go. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not a married sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not a married sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Now, the mindset for the holiday season, all right, we're now all happy and cheery and we're going to come together and we're doing gift buying and we're going to do holiday celebrations. We're going to start to have meals together. The family's coming back together for the holiday season.
Sounds like it'd be fun to party
Students are
with.
all coming home. Religious celebrations during the holiday season. Yeah. COVID is the Grinch.
You sure?
Think of it that way. And the COVID Grinch is an opportunist. And the COVID Grinch sees this as the season of viral transmission. All those things that the holiday season brings, they all increase social activity, they all increase mobility, and they will all increase viral transmission. So this is the season of the COVID Grinch. Also, when you hear that holiday music, Marcia, dun, 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 think COVID Grinch.
I wonder if he knows the Grinch isn't real. COVID is real. COVID is more real than the Grinch. He sure sounds like the Grinch to me. I mean, gosh, I said this on Twitter yesterday. It's like the only tweet that I've sent in the last 4 days. And boy, have I felt wonderful limiting the amount of time I invest in that cesspool that is Twitter. Fear is a liar. You can respect COVID and not fear COVID. You can respect COVID and live your life and still make the most of it. But I guess that what Cuomo wants to do there is scare the pants off of you so that you don't do anything ever and that you hibernate in your house and you realize that there's this big scary monster out there named the COVID Grinch and he's coming to get you. It's ridiculous. Good grief. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I don't know, what is the Thanksgiving bad guy?
Right.
I guess if you're the turkey, it's us.
That's not a person, right?
Nor is COVID. I mean, it's just it's just when you listen to this stuff and you listen to the way that they're putting this out there, he's trying to make it cute and funny. And I mean, I am laughing. I don't know if I'm laughing because for how he wanted me to laugh, but when Governor Cuomo puts this out there, is it leadership? I guess if this is the kind of leadership you need, I'm so over the idea of instilling fear amongst people who can be responsible all by themselves without how have we made it to 2020? How have we gotten this far? How did the Pilgrims come over here on the friggin' Mayflower and we got to this point where you've got Governor Cuomo up there talking about the COVID Grinch to make sure that you are frightened enough to not go anywhere or do anything this Christmas, because then what? What's going to happen in January? What's going to happen in February? I mean, he's already poo-pooed the vaccine. Oh my gosh, I've seen article after article, and it's talking about how, the Biden administration is saying, or, it's like showing photos of Joe Biden, and it's trying to encourage people to think a certain way or to check something out. And it's like President Trump has been saying this same thing forever. But now that Biden is on the scene, sort of, he's in a boot now. We'll talk about that later. But now that Biden is on the scene, if he says that it's okay, I mean, we aren't that dumb. We're just not. How was your Thanksgiving, Katie? How delicious was that Thanksgiving meal?
Oh my gosh. It was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. 50% back, people. Taste and smell. I am so thrilled.
And you're like almost 5 weeks from diagnosis.
Yes, 5 weeks this week from diagnosis. And I have had mashed potatoes with gravy for the last 4 days.
Good every time?
4 days. Good every time.
Do mashed potatoes get better in the fridge? Or are they best the first time?
Best the first time, I think. Best the first time. But it's not like they are horrible after
your
days
palate
and days.
is less discerning these days.
Correct.
Just like rubbing the mashed potatoes all over your face.
I'm just like bathing in the mashed potatoes. I'm like, more gravy. It's really great.
When did you start to get your taste back?
Gosh, I want to say Thanksgiving. It was like a Thanksgiving miracle. That day I woke up and
call Governor Cuomo.
I know, I really should. I should be doing these with him.
Way too positive for this.
He couldn't handle it.
Holiday season.
But yeah, it was the day of Thanksgiving. I woke up and I was like anticipating not being able to really. My mother-in-law is a great cook. She's fantastic. So I was like, darn, I really, really hope I get to taste anything today because I love her casseroles. She's so good at what she does. And I went over there and I tasted everything. Oh, it was so great.
What's the first thing that you put in your mouth that you realized you could taste?
Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh. I would say one of the appetizers. It was like, pigs in a blanket. It was like a pigs in a blanket type of deal.
Like
and
a hot dog in a crescent roll?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I put that in my mouth and it was
dinner at my house for my kids.
Oh, it was so good. It was super salty. Could taste it right away. And after that, I knew. I was like, positivity way up today, baby. Loving it.
Something to be thankful for. Ryan, what about you? How was your Thanksgiving? Because you were hemming and hawing over what you were going to do. How'd that end up going?
It actually ended up being pretty low key, just with my parents and my immediate family, and no complaints. It was actually probably more restful than it usually is, and we all made what we liked.
Generally, the less people and the less traveling, the more restful.
Exactly. So no complaints this year from the Wiggins household.
Okay, so my Thanksgiving, we hosted my parents, my brother and his family, and my sister and her family. And this is the first time that we have hosted Thanksgiving. My grandma always hosted Thanksgiving, and we lost her in September, so we did not have her. I don't know what we would have done. I kind of feel like we would have tried to make it work with her, because otherwise she would have been by herself anyway. But maybe not. I don't know. But we didn't have grandma, so we hosted it here. And it's funny because at one point, like my husband made the meal with my middle daughter, and he's such a good cook. And everybody was just talking about how great it is. My family, I grew up eating, we were talking about this on Thanksgiving. I grew up eating like frozen chicken patties with Wonder Bread, and I mean, I didn't eat them frozen, but you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. With mayo and like a slice of cheese or something. Like I don't think I could eat that now, but frozen pizzas, hamburger helper, the microwave pasta packets where it's got like, you can get like garlic creamy noodles or something. I could eat that right now. But we did not really have very many prepared meals. And most of the time that was because being the middle child, my sister is 3 years older than me. Once she got into sports, she was in sports year round. Then I got into sports. I was in sports year round. Then my brother is like, how do you prepare a meal for everybody? And both my parents worked. So we fended for ourselves, ate a lot of cereal. And we were sitting there and we were putting food on the table. My brother just looked at everything. He goes, can you imagine if I had to do this for everybody? Like, and my sister-in-law was like, you'd be yelling at yourself. You'd be so angry. I'm like, I would pay to see that. I would invest in making that happen. But my husband, just to show the spectrum where he comes from, he always grew up with home cooked meals. His mom grew up on a farm, and they cooked like farm people, which tastes delicious, I might add. Like everything you're making is real. It came from something, as opposed to my chicken patties, probably not chicken, not sure. That's why I said, I don't know if I can do that. When you break the chicken apart and it just looks like a sponge, like, is this really even chicken?
It's made by a 3D printer.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably trust that more. So my husband loves to cook. And he says to me, he was bugging me like the weekend before. He wrote out the menu and everything. He's like, Annie, do you think I've got penne noodles and rigatoni or something like that? He goes, do you think it would be a problem if I use penne noodles instead of macaroni noodles for the mac and cheese? I'm like, no, like my family doesn't even know that macaroni is a shape of noodle. Like they're not going to see this. And then he tells me the morning of, he's like, I don't know if I have enough of this one noodle. Do you think it'll be okay if I mix the noodles? I'm like, yes.
God bless him.
Who do you think we are? Like, we are not discerning people. Is it going to be cheesy noodles? We're happy. We're good. And then again, my brother's sitting at the table going, can you imagine if I had to do this? Like, there'd be frozen dinners for everybody. It's just funny how when you're thrown into the fire, like we all have been this year, I keep thinking, like, I'm trying to separate in my mind the difference between 2020 Thanksgiving and the first Thanksgiving without my grandma. Because, you know, in a way, I'm going to kind of say it's a blessing that everything has been forced to be so different anyway, so that the buffer between if this was your Thanksgiving, your first time without somebody at your table that's always been at your table, that's tragically sad. But the adjustments that we're having to make with everything, I don't know if it's making us looser in our ability to kind of go with the ebb and flow. Like you don't have as much to count on these days, which makes me think that the things that you do have to count on become way more important. The things that are there that you realize, I am really relying hard on my family. I'm really relying hard on my faith. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's, you know, a close friend that you have, that I really felt this Thanksgiving, like the cream is really rising to the top, and it's really having the opportunity to do so in a really bold and impactful way. I hope that was your experience. I've had a hard time putting up Christmas decorations because I always did that with my grandma. And so it, like, you know, putting up Christmas decorations is supposed to be one of the most exciting, fun things of the year. It's supposed to just be filled with joy and happiness. And there's that tinge of sadness that cuts real deep, and you're putting things up and you've got, you know, Christmas music playing, and then it's a song that makes you think of something and it makes you sad. We are dealing with these types of things on top of a pandemic, on top of something that is very real, that has affected all of us. If it hasn't affected us personally, maybe you're blessed that it hasn't taken any of your loved ones. I mean, I know that when COVID hit our show with Katie, it made us had to, you know, get on our toes and dance around that and figure out how are we going to do it. And we did it. And it was kind of fun in watching Katie broadcast from her kitchen and yell at her dog in the middle of the show. But it's challenging. And I just want you to make sure that if you feel that I've felt overwhelmed at times, Katie, Ryan, I don't know if you have felt that, like, where there's been a moment where you're like, man, this is a lot.
Absolutely.
This is hitting me really hard. Like, stop and take a moment to think about what those things are for you, where that heaviness is coming from, because I have found myself getting the most overwhelmed because I think something is bothering me. And then I realize I'm thinking about my grandma, or I'm thinking about somebody who I know who has been affected by something else that's been going on in life, or I'm dealing with something in my life. And it becomes very difficult to pull that stuff apart and handle it. And I think that we need to do that now more than ever, because we're going to get a lot more Governor Cuomo's out there who are going to be pounding it into our heads. Specifically, if you live in the county in St. Louis, if you live in the state of Illinois, you're going to get told that it is your duty and responsibility to just stay home, stay inside, and not go anywhere and do anything. And you know what? There are many of us who might need to do that, and there are some of us who don't need to do that. We can all make responsible decisions. We can all do things to take care of ourselves and take care of the people around us. But do not neglect that mental health aspect. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself and taking those moments to enjoy the season and everything that comes along with it. Because there are a lot of feels that come along with it, and they will sneak up on you when you least expect it. We're going to talk about COVID with Dr. Scott Hardeman when we come back. This is the segment we do every Monday where he updates us on the latest numbers, the latest thoughts, the latest developments that have to do with coronavirus. And we also take your questions. So you can go on to facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, and you can comment on the Facebook Live your question about COVID. You can do the same thing at the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Watch our live there as well. Stick around. We'll be back with more Annie Frey Show in just a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Hi, this is Lance Drury. If you have payroll tax problems, you have serious legal problems, you need an attorney. Call 314-260-6120 or toll free 888-367-6512 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The holiday season is upon us, and that means that we are going to have a lot of opportunities to eat. And that's how we pack on the pounds during the holiday season. Of course, January is right around the corner, and that's when we all promise to take off those pounds that we're about to put on right now, and maybe a little bit more. I want to introduce you to Slim 180 because you can get a jump start on this. And I'm going to tell you this as well. You can lose weight fast with Slim 180. I did with their medically supervised HCG rapid weight loss program. It worked for me, and I think it will work for you as well. If you'd like a free consultation to find out what Slim 180 can do for you, you can call 888-754-6111. That's 888-754-6111. Have that conversation and make a plan. Take your health as the priority that it needs to be right now and get started. You can use their traditional program, their medically supervised HCG rapid weight loss program that I used, or their quick start lipoline program. 6 locations around the St. Louis area, but you can meet remotely with them as well. Visit them online at myslim180.com.
Goodwill wants to help you celebrate the holidays at Six Flags. Donate your car to Goodwill. You'll get a tax receipt and 4 free tickets to Six Flags Holiday in the Park, featuring thrilling rides, tasty treats, and exciting family entertainment for the holiday season. Support a good cause. Donating is easy and towing is free. For more information or to donate online, visit mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Six Flags. Hurry while supplies last. Valid only for Holiday in the Park. Give hope. Give local. Give Goodwill.
Hello, home lovers. Let's plan an awesomely successful visit to your lovely home with samples and ideas for stylish, elegant custom window fashion, designer fabrics, drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. Just contact Michael at ProctorDrapery.com. 7 days. It's Proctor, spelled like doctor.
Proctor Drapery, the best in town. No finer window fashion can be found. Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Boardroom, Out of Office Podcasts. My name is Rich Kleiman, and I'm the co-founder of 35 Ventures, alongside my business partner, KD. This show is all about the stories, the successes, and the struggles that have driven my favorite entrepreneurs in sports, business, entertainment, and technology. We're going to be talking to industry leaders about who they are, how they got here, and the things they've learned along the way that you might not expect. So subscribe and listen on Apple Podcasts, radio.com, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Happy from Hardee's. Listen closely. Do you hear that? That's the sizzling sound of 2 1/3 pound juicy Angus beef patties stacked with 4 strips of bacon on the Monster Angus Thick Burger. You're getting hungry for the bacon. You're driving to the Angus beef. But wait, don't take your eyes off the road for the monster. When I snap my star fingers, you'll pull into the nearest Hardee's and order the Monster Angus Thick Burger. Feed your happy.
Available at participating restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
This year hasn't been easy, but nothing can stop the spirit of Christmas. Donate now to 97.1 and radio.com's Bikes for Tykes to benefit Toys for Tots in our community. Visit 971talk.com/toys to give.
Well, as you said, it'll ship within 24 hours after FDA approval. And then really it's going to be up to our nursing homes, our hospitals, our pharmacies to get that dispensed. So it really could be within days of FDA approval, we'll start seeing vaccines in people's arms, which is frankly incredible. Think about this, 10 months into this pandemic hitting our shores.
That is Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar talking about the vaccine and its disbursement here. Also, listen to Dr. Fauci talking about the default position for kids
close the
in
bars
school.
and keep the schools open is what we really say. Obviously, you don't have one size fits all, but as I said in the past, and as you accurately quoted me, the default position should be to try as best as possible within reason to keep the children in school or to get them back to school. The best way to ensure the safety of the children in school is to get the community level of spread low. So if you mitigate the things that you know are causing spread in a very, very profound way, in a robust way, if you bring that down, you will then indirectly and ultimately protect the children in the school.
So Dr. Fauci is saying keep the bars closed and open the schools. That's interesting because there are a lot of places who are kind of doing not necessarily the opposite, but closing everything down. Man, I think it's so important the kids are in school. I'm so glad that my kids are still in person learning and have been the whole year. But parochial school is what has allowed us to be able to do that. I want to get to our guest. Every Monday, we welcome Dr. Scott Hardeman on the show. He's a physician at Gateway ENT, also at Urgent Specialist. Check out urgentspecialist.com. He joins us to talk about, in a nonpartisan way, the latest happenings with COVID. Dr. Hardeman, thank you so much for coming back. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I did. I hope you did as well.
Yes, we did. It was different, but it was good.
Different. That's right.
I think the first question that I have is, we were all supposed to be very concerned about Thanksgiving gatherings. For people who did get together, I would assume, are we Monday here? That would be if people gathered on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days out from that gathering. If somebody were to, if there was going to be a mini super spreader event at anybody's Thanksgiving dinner, how close are we now to starting to have those symptoms on set where people might begin to be concerned?
Well, you could start to see them this early, but I think probably a few more days or so. I think the trajectory on that will probably peak around 5 to 7 days after, a gathering or an event. That's usually the time when if someone's going to convert positive, the vast majority of people do. It can be earlier, but generally around a week or so. So towards the middle of the week. And then, if the case numbers don't dramatically spike, hopefully we'll see that the numbers of admissions to hospitals, et cetera, all the trickle-down effect from that tends to be a little less significant as well. So time will tell. I guess anytime you have large gatherings, which the argument there is, did most people have large gatherings, or did most people try and, have those tough decisions within their family of how to best handle their particular situations? And I think we'll know more over the course of the next 2 or 3 days here.
So, Dr. Hardeman, if people do start to feel something coming on, it's December. It's not unusual to get a cold, close to December, I should say. It's not unusual to get cold symptoms at this time of year. What are the symptoms that you want people to be alert to that should push them to go get that test?
So the symptoms are really all over the board now, and we have sort of passed through allergy season, generally any respiratory-related symptoms, but it continues to be symptoms that seem associated with headaches, generalized muscle fatigue, body aches, respiratory symptoms, congestion, loss of sense of taste and smell, fever, really any of those things. But, it's been unique in that what we've seen recently is that symptoms run kind of a broad spectrum. If we were to turn back the hands of time 2 or 3 months, I think our attitude generally across the area was, there's just not a huge amount of community spread. The numbers are still relatively low in the grand scheme of things. So why don't you just wait a day or two and kind of see what the symptoms do? We're at a point now where, we all know someone who's had this or, is going to be positive here in the not too distant future. And so I think if you have those symptoms that just seem new and different from what your norm would be, especially the ones that I just mentioned, it's certainly not unreasonable to be tested just to make sure. But the other thing you have to kind of remember is these tests are just not 100% bulletproof. And so even if you get a negative test, it's still pretty wise to just lay low for a few days and get a sense of what's going on with your body. If you rapidly improve, it's less likely that you had coronavirus. If you feel like you got worse, it's not unreasonable to get tested again because, again, these things are just not 100% accurate, which makes it tricky, obviously, for just people to kind of know, and the availability of testing around as well. It's just not that easy to just pop in and say, I want to get a test done. I mean, it's a finite capacity that we have, and people that are quite acutely ill or potentially being hospitalized, they're gobbling up a lot of test kits at this point.
Dr. Hardeman, I'm hearing very conflicting reports about hospitals and capacity right now, especially in our area. Do you have any reports about how we're doing either locally or nationally as far as hospital beds go?
Well, certainly locally, it's tricky. Two of the hospitals that I go to within the task force, numbers that are reported have around 100, slightly over 100 people that are coronavirus positive or under investigation. That's a pretty big number, but when you talk about a hospital that's 6 or 7 or 8 or 900 beds in capacity, obviously you're not filling hospitals with coronavirus patients. The number of people in the ICUs, are certainly they're holding steady, but they're kind of ticking up a little bit, in the same those requiring ventilatory support. I think that's pretty universal. A lot of the other hospitals in the task force are not anywhere near those numbers. The tricky part is that the hospitals are, the administration and the staff is there trying to sort of segregate out patients that are positive or under investigation, so as to not expose people in the hospital for all these other routine things, which still the vast majority of folks admitted to the hospital right now are not coronavirus related. And so that makes it a little bit tricky just from a logistical perspective of how they set up the hospital, how you staff, and how you cover those things. So it's a fair number of people in the hospital for sure, no question. The highest numbers we've really seen, but the capacity, I believe I read this morning, the capacity of ICUs for coronavirus patients are around 90% at this point, and overall capacity at the hospitals is in that sort of 85 to 87% range or so. But people are getting sick with other issues as well, and it just logistically makes it tricky to kind of manage all that.
Dr. Hardeman is joining us right now. He's a physician at Gateway ENT, also with urgent specialists, and he talks to us each Monday about coronavirus from a medical standpoint. If you would have a question for Doctor, you can come onto the Facebook Live, facebook.com/Andy Frey Show, or the Andy Frey YouTube channel. We're live there as well, and comment it. We've got questions coming in, and we ask those questions after the break that's coming up here. I want to ask you, Doctor, about what we know about the fatality rate, the death rate of COVID, comparing it to what we thought maybe at the beginning of this, initially in March and April, because I feel as though the emotion and the sentiment behind coronavirus is lagging behind the science, the progress, and the knowledge that we have at this point in time as to how damaging and I said earlier in the show, there's a lot of fear that is pushed out there about this virus. I think you can respect the virus without having to be afraid of it. But what do we know about that fatality right now, maybe comparatively speaking to the flu or other things that we are more familiar with that we didn't know at the beginning?
So early on, I think the numbers that were coming out of northern Italy and even out of China, for that matter, were really, really frightening, I think, for everyone. And it was just such an unknown entity. We hadn't really sorted out exactly, who was going to get it, how contagious it was, and what the comorbid issues or factors affecting that fatality rate were really going to be. I think early on there were even numbers in that 10% range or so out of northern Italy. Then as we kind of gathered more information, we saw that it was largely affecting nursing home population, older individuals, people with other health issues there. We started to get a sense that for the population, say 50 to 55 and lower, the mortality rate or fatality rate is incredibly low in that group of individuals, barring some complications or other issues that they might have. I think the official statement from the CDC right now still holds around 0.4% or so, sort of overall mortality associated with this. But those numbers have kind of been called into question and a little bit lower. There's some Icelandic data. It's a small population, only a few 100,000 people in their country, but they've been very aggressive in how they've monitored this, which you can do with a small group of people in your society. And they're saying, which has been confirmed other places, it's in that sort of 0.3% range. Influenza, generally, what's said is around 0.1 to 0.15%, but we don't we're not all over influenza like we are with this. We don't really know. It's a lot of projections and guessing and kind of going back and looking at admissions for pneumonias and other things in the hospitals at the end of a respiratory season and trying to sort out from there. So it certainly is lower, way lower than what was initially thought to be. And I think, generally speaking, when the dust clears from this, I think this is probably going to end up being somewhere in the vicinity of influenza. But the tricky part with this is it's just so much more contagious, so it tends to run through the community a little bit easier. It's a little hard to track and keep our hands on it.
Well, Doctor, we've got a ton of questions coming in, Ryan. I see a ton of good questions here, too. And instead of coming up with my own questions, I'm going to break a little bit early here. And Ryan and I will come back with listener questions for you. If you would like to comment your question and get an answer from Dr. Hardeman, you go to the Facebook Live. It's facebook.com/Annie Frey Show. Just comment there, question for the doc. Same on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. And Ryan and I will have questions for you as soon as we come back. Don't go away.
Before the fall of Rome.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. You're not the only one working more from inside your home, so is your HVAC system. If your system needs service, Air Comfort Service will promptly and safely be there for you. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Lakeside Renovation and Design, the go-to place when you need your windows replaced with the very best. They are the very best, not just the windows that they have, which they are, they're Infinity windows, and they're exclusive to Lakeside Renovation and Design, but also the people. I mean, genuinely speaking, when I am talking to Candace and the whole team over at Lakeside Renovation and Design, boy, they care about you. They haven't even met you yet, and they are excited to transform your home in one way or another, however you need them to. They are there for you. You can see everything that they do at lakesiderenovationanddesign.com. Stunning transformations on homes. But let's talk about windows for a second, because as the air gets colder and your rooms get draftier, you got to pull out those space heaters. Let's take care of the problem where it actually exists. And that's with those drafty, leaky windows, those vinyl windows that are probably original to the house. Replace those with fiberglass replacement windows. And they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, resistant to leaks, seal failures, and stress cracks, all things that can affect your energy efficiency. Find out about 18 months interest-free financing as well. Go to lakesiderenovationanddesign.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Throughout history, rings of all kinds have been given to symbolize adoration and devotion. And who doesn't love a beautiful ring? Shane Company has the largest selection of unique rings and wedding bands, crafted to last a lifetime. For a new relationship, a promise ring will be a treasured gift. If you've been together many years, a 3-stone ring might make your tear up. The stones represent the past, present, and future. If you're looking for a wedding band, we offer every style, from simple classics to elaborate decorative bands, as well as bands with sapphires and colorful gemstones. She can either stack it with her wedding set or wear it on her right hand. Every time she looks at her ring, she'll be reminded of your love. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com. Open weekdays 9 till 9, Saturday 10 till 8, and Sunday 11 to 5.
Mark Cox here. Guys, let Victory Men's Health help you regain your vitality by optimizing your hormones, vitamins, and sexual health. Victory Men's Health has the most cutting-edge technologies to treat ED. They have wave therapy. Listen, this is the biggest advancement for men with ED since the launch of Viagra. That's pretty incredible. They do the treatments in their office. Victory Men's Health offers wave therapy in both their Illinois and Missouri location. Check them out online today at victorymenshealth.com.
You can listen to 97.1 on the radio or online with no big tech censorship. Just download the app, stream it online, or say it to your smart speaker. 97.1 FM Talk. Free and fair.
Pfizer submitted their application a week ago, and the FDA said they'll hold a public advisory committee hearing on December 10th. And if everything is on track, FDA could approve within days of that hearing. And then Moderna, they file today, and there'll be an advisory committee for them, likely December 17th is what the company has announced.
So that's Secretary Alex Azar talking about the Pfizer vaccine being approved within days after the December 10th FDA hearing. There are a lot of vaccines out there. There are a lot of questions about them as well. Just one of the reasons we have Dr. Scott Hardeman on each week with us to talk about it. Physician at Gateway ENT and urgent specialist, and here with us right now. Doctor, here's the first question I have here from Don on Facebook. I heard the vaccine makes you sick. What side effects have been reported, and how long do symptoms last? What can you tell us about those side effects of these vaccines?
Yeah, the two that are probably furthest down the path, the ones that Secretary Azar just mentioned, Moderna and Pfizer, is those mRNA vaccines that we're hearing a lot about. Majority of the side effects seem to be local and regional to the site of injection, although back pain, muscle aches, and fatigue are things associated with it too. It did seem like some of those side effects seem to be a little bit worse with the second dose that was given. And I think that's part of the issue that the FDA is going to have to really look at. I mean, most side effects related to this has been such a short process. We really only know over about a 3 to 4 month period of time as we followed those folks, because I think the phase 3 trial started sometime in August. So it seems to be that none of them were significant enough that they had to halt the trial, which was great. Long-term side effects or issues with those only really manifest over a period of time, but they can make some predictions and projections based upon the data that was seen from their initial safety studies. And of course, those are in the phase 3 trial as well. So a bit of a long answer, but I think most of the stuff seems to be related to localized injection site issues, and as well as some relatively mild systemic symptoms with those particular vaccines. As far as AstraZeneca, which is the next one that's out there, that's kind of in the process and released their data last week, that seemed to be a little bit less, and it seemed like the majority of their side effects were just, again, sort of local regional injection site issues, much like when you get tetanus shots or influenza vaccines, where it tends to cause some swelling and muscle irritation right at the site.
Doctor, are there people who are being encouraged to maybe pass on the vaccine, maybe because their age, they're old or young or comorbidity or pregnant women? Is there anybody who's not supposed to get it?
Not at this point. It's a little bit unclear how this is going to be rolled out. Some of that is logistically just related to those 2 mRNA vaccines, that they're just tricky to manage. And I think both companies are struggling with that because they have to be stored at such an incredibly cold temperature, and how you do that and have them, be used for vaccination within a 24-hour period of time with that, which is what my understanding is how that has to be done. So at this point, I think the general thought is to vaccinate those most vulnerable in nursing homes, those with comorbid issues, and then healthcare workers, of course, that are kind of on the front lines managing this, because as our doctors and nursing colleagues have a tendency to drop out, even if they have relatively mild illnesses, they're removed from the workforce, and that just puts more strain on the system. So I think that's generally the direction we'll go.
Okay. Question for Dr. Hardeman from Vicky on Facebook. If you've had COVID, should you still get the vaccine? And if so, which one would you recommend?
It's a great question. I've asked that of a bunch of my colleagues recently. And again, I don't know that we have a real clear-cut answer. I think there's some question marks about the long-term immunity of having had coronavirus in the past. Again, to go back to the Icelandic study, they've been showing antibodies as much as 6 months out from folks that have suffered with the illness itself. I think probably much like with influenza and or booster vaccines, my guess is that they're going to suggest, once it reaches general population for distribution, that everyone gets it, and then there'll be probably some versions of the vaccine over a period of time that will function almost like boosters, just to kind of boost or stimulate your immune system every so often, as we get a little more information about how long-term these antibodies tend to stick around our system.
Question from Matthew on Facebook. We hear a lot about not knowing long-term damage that COVID-19 could cause, reduced lung capacity, et cetera. Are there any concerns about long-term negative consequences from the vaccine?
Well, that's a great question as well. And I think we have to rely mostly on the safety information from the initial phase 1 and phase 2 studies that are out there. The vaccines largely work to create either exposure of the spike protein or the antigens that are on the surface of the virus for our innate immune system to recognize that and develop antibodies to that, and then for future for the same thing, versus the mRNA vaccines, which use a genetic code to stimulate our own body to create spike protein. And then again, the second part of the immune system sort of recognizes that and develops neutralizing antibodies to it as well. The mRNA vaccines, I think there's a tremendous amount of study that's been done on those over the years, but these will be the first of those. And I think long term, we'll know more over time. The AstraZeneca or the protein-based vaccines are viral vector vaccines where they use another type of virus and then attach an inactive protein to the surface and give those. That's more consistent with what we've seen with vaccines in the past. And I think over time, that certainly has been shown to be safe overall.
Dr. Scott Hardeman is on the phone with us. He's a physician at Gateway ENT and Urgent Specialists. And if you want to ask questions, you can ask those on our Annie Frey Show Facebook or YouTube pages. Don is asking on the YouTube page, since the vaccine is only going to last a year, how do we learn to live with COVID? Do we get a vaccine every year for it?
Well, I'm not 100% certain the vaccine immunity is only going to last a year, and I don't think anyone knows that 100%, but it's a possibility. I think probably much like influenza, there may be some mutations in this that we have to make some slight alterations to the vaccine. Time will tell. This has really been a rapid process at this point to get to where we are. Like they said earlier on your intro, about 10 months or so from start to finish at this point. So the immune system is pretty clever at recognizing these viruses, and even if if there's a mutation, the overall immunity or antibody levels were to drop, it can recognize an exposure to a virus again. So it may not be the exact version, maybe a slight mutation, but that you still get some protection from that, just like we get from having one version of a common cold going to another. Some tend to be worse than others in just how they work. So my guess, again, is that we're probably going to go through this initial wave of vaccinations. We're going to slow the transmission. We're going to hopefully see things open back up again, and the transmission rate drop tremendously. And then we'll start to sort out on an annual basis how often a vaccine is necessary to be done. They're likely going to do further studies to see just circulating neutralizing antibodies in folks that have had the vaccine, just how far out they go. Again, right now we're only, even those early people who had the vaccine from early August are only 3 or 4 months into it at this time to really know how long those neutralizing antibodies tend to last.
Joe here on Facebook says 2 questions for Dr. Hardeman. Daughter got a PCR test. They said to expect results in 24 hours. Okay, got the results in 5 hours. Did they cut corners? And the second question is, can the COVID PCR test mistakenly pick up other coronaviruses? So if you get your results back, is that 24 hours, how long it takes to process it? Or is that just how long they need to get through tests? Maybe you just get yours earlier.
Yeah, so the machines that run these, and there are numerous machines that run these tests. A true PCR test that's run on a high capacity machine, that's likely, if they told you 24 hours, it's likely more just a logistical issue. So they go into a machine, they run through the process. It's incredibly automated at that point, and they come out and they're read on the other side. So it was likely just an issue of timing of when that sample went in and how it was done. So I wouldn't say that there's any issues with cutting corners on that. That type of PCR kind of is fairly automated. What was the second question again?
If the PCR test can pick up other coronaviruses.
So they're very, very, very specific to this particular issue because it's looking at the genetic makeup of it completely. The other side of that question generally is usually, can they miss something there? And the answer is they can. I think there's tremendous numbers of variables. They're not 100% accurate. No test is 100% accurate. There's a sampling error of how the swab is done or where the source of the sample is taken from. And then just the machines themselves and how the test is actually run, or where you are in the disease process and were they able to pick up enough virus. And then, of course, how many cycles of amplification, because that's effectively what they're doing is getting samples of the viral RNA, and then they're cycling it, amplifying it multiple times to try and recognize those snippets of the genetic makeup to do that. So they are very, very specific to this particular virus. As far as the sensitivity goes, there are some false negatives that can happen with almost any of these tests.
Since the COVID-19 is a respiratory virus, I think the answer to this question will be obvious, but I'm going to ask it just to be safe. Sam from Facebook says, I cut my hand while out shopping. Can you get COVID-19 through an open cut?
To my knowledge, I know of no capacity to do that. It really attaches through this what's called the ACE2 receptor. That's a respiratory tree receptor, and it's not a bloodborne pathogen. It's respiratory related. So you're absolutely right.
Williams says, how many positive COVID results? So the numbers that we see in the news that we hear from the politicians, how many positive COVID results are from actual positive tests versus positive by association?
If I understand that correctly, I think the data that's being reported is really just based upon the state labs or participating labs and just the number of PCR tests that are done. Some states are accepting antigen tests. For a while they were accepting antibody tests as well, but I think largely these are just off of confirmed positive cases, not through contact association.
Okay.
Any possibility, says Mars on our YouTube page, any idea on the possibility to contract it twice?
So there's a handful of cases that have been reported. I think we probably haven't been at this quite long enough to know really what the level of mutation will be, and if you've had it once, if your antibody system and your immune system will protect you, so that the cases tend to be very mild. I think there is some concern out there that can happen, but still, in the vast majority and grand scheme of things, it should be a very low concern for most people. I think there's just a handful with less than 10 documented cases out there, to my knowledge, of a situation where someone has contracted twice.
I don't think we've asked this question yet. This is from Brad on YouTube. Could Dr. Scott please explain the difference between the mRNA vaccines and the Astra vaccines? We hear a lot about the different companies putting them out, but also these terms like mRNA. What does that mean to us who will be choosing, I guess, which vaccine we get or whether to get it at all?
Yeah. So let me take the Astra first, because that's probably a little bit easier to explain. It's more akin to what we have knowledge of. So they've taken a virus that we're commonly exposed to. They've inactivated that virus so that we don't have the capacity to get sick from that. And then they've attached the spike protein or certain elements of this spike protein, which is on the surface of the coronavirus. And it's the thing that kind of binds to that ACE2 receptor again. So since you're given an inactive virus with a protein antigen attached to the surface of it that looks and resembles the coronavirus and how it attaches to our body, you get that injection, your immune system recognizes that as a foreign substance or foreign body, develops initially antibodies to that, and then those circulate through your system. Probably also creates some memory activity with the T cell immunity versus the B cells. So the B cells are the ones that just develop the antibodies. That information, to sort of think about in the memory banks, is stored in the T cells over time. So even if you don't continue to test and have constant antibody levels to that virus or spike protein, our body can still recognize that, and those memory cells can go back and present it to the B cells, and you can redevelop antibodies if you were exposed to it again. So,
did we lose him?
Hello?
Okay, let's put him. Yeah. Let's let Dr. I don't know.
I don't know how does that happen?
Somebody really wanted to ask Dr. Scott Hardeman a question. Took the phone right out of his hand. Was going to ask us a question and then hand the phone back and let him answer it.
I need an answer right now. I've got to knock this guy down so he'll get off the phone.
I hope he's okay.
No kidding.
She didn't sound too imposing.
He did just hang up, so I hope he's fine.
Or she was trying to pirate radio in to get her question on the air. I don't know which one it was.
We asked a ton of questions this time, so I don't feel too terrible about it. Yeah, there are still more. Thank you so much for submitting those questions, because honestly, we can ask these questions as we go through this process, but it's always better if we can get them straight from you. So we want to thank Dr. Scott Hardeman. He's a physician at Gateway ENT and an urgent specialist. Urgent specialist is a great place to get your urgent care. It's different than other urgent care places because they have you in connection with specialists who are there on call to help you while you're there. I took my son there when he broke his finger and they helped him. It was such a great experience for us. We drove a significant extra distance to get to urgent specialists, and it was worth every minute in the car. Katie has been a frequent flyer of COVID tests at urgent specialists. So thank you to Dr. Scott Hardeman. I hope everything is okay. We will follow up with him and report back.
Yes.
I do want to say, Katie, I'm going to try to add on to the show here. I'm going to see if we can do it at 2:00. I want to do like a 2 to 5 minute small business, just little special spotlight here, because this not being able to go in and shop places. I saw Sweetology, who used to partner with us, had to close. They're doing like curbside stuff and everything, but they had to keep people from coming inside. I mean, this is decimating people. So message the Annie Frey Show Facebook page if you might like to be featured here. I'm going to try to get someone on who can talk to us about hot chocolate bombs at 2:00. Stick around.
Sweet.
Stephen Moore will not be that person, but he'll talk about money in a minute. Don't go away.
Beck and Lennox Estate Planning and Elder Law is available for a free consultation for you. If you don't have any estate planning done, or if you haven't had it looked at in 3 years or more, just give them a call. Tell them you heard about them on the Annie Frey Show, and, see what they know, because you're going to be pretty impressed. I know I was. 636-946-7899. 636-946-7899. Rudy Beck, Jay Lennox, Carolyn Diker. These are all experts in the field of estate planning, of elder law issues, and also of helping you plan for long-term care. This is a huge expense that can really eat into your financial planning if you don't actually have it thought of. They can talk to you about nursing home care, how to save for it, how to prepare for it. They can also talk to you about making sure that if you're eligible for veterans benefits, that they can hook you up with that. Reach out to them and schedule that consultation. 636-946-7899. That's 636-946-7899. Find them online right now at beckelderlaw.com.
Hey there, it's Billy with Inside Out Tax. I used to work for the IRS, and I help people every day get to the bottom of their tax problems. What most folks don't know is the IRS can show up at your door. These are field collection employees called revenue officers. If you've recently been visited by someone at the IRS, then give me a call to set up a free 30-minute consultation at 636-495-5700, or reach out to us through our website at insideouttax.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
This year hasn't been easy, but nothing can stop the spirit of Christmas. Donate now to 97.1 and radio.com's Bikes for Tykes to benefit Toys for Tots in our community. Whether it's a soccer ball, a baby doll, or a brand new bike, 100% of your virtual donations will be turned into toys to put under a family's tree on Christmas morning. It's 97.1 and radio.com's Bikes for Tykes. Visit 97 KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group. 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
Another state certifies its results. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. Arizona just officially giving a win to Joe Biden, becoming the latest state to put the 2020 election in the books, even as President Trump keeps challenging results.
Our side of the story is legitimate. Our side of the story needs to be heard.
Rudy Giuliani at an election hearing in Arizona, similar to one held last week by Pennsylvania Republican lawmakers. The president's legal team still arguing ballot irregularities and fraud, and also claiming judges aren't letting them present all of their evidence.
The president also questioning why Republicans did so well in down ballot races, particularly in the House, and yet he lost the presidential race, according to the vote tally. The president tweeting this morning about the challenges, quote, "I'm not fighting for me. I'm fighting for the 74 million people, not including the many Trump ballots that were tossed, a record for a sitting president who voted for me."
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. No courts or election officials have verified claims of widespread fraud. The president-elect, meantime, forging ahead on his transition and planning to formally introduce the picks for his economic team tomorrow, including Janet Yellen, the former Fed chief, as Treasury Secretary nominee. The U.S. Supreme Court hearing arguments on whether illegal immigrants can be counted in the census results that determine how many U.S. House seats a state gets. Justice Elena Kagan questioning acting U.S. Solicitor General Jeffrey Wall today about matching records to determine the number of undocumented residents.
It seems to me you either know whether you can do matching or you don't know whether you can do matching. Why the uncertainty on this?
Because until you actually compare the one set against the other set, you just don't know how many hits you'll get.
Opponents of the president's effort to exclude undocumented immigrants argue the Constitution requires apportionment be based on the whole number of persons in each state. America is listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies has announced their Cyber Monday sale. They're releasing new doorbusters every weekday, plus up to 50% off cutting-edge tech for your business. There's no better time to upgrade your small business with the latest laptops and desktops with Intel Core processors, plus there's free shipping on everything. Yes, everything. Give Dell Technologies advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business. Call 877-ASK-DELL or go to Dell.com/SP Cyber Monday. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
At home with Robert, retired burglar and family man.
Carolers! That's the holiday spirit. Speaking of which, Simply Safe Home Security is having a huge holiday sale. Right now, you can get 50% off a new system and a free camera at simplysafe.com/holiday. That's 50% off the system U.S. News named the best of 2020. Simply Safe protects your whole home 24/7 with monitoring by professionals. The sale ends soon, so go to simplysafe.com/holiday for 50% off and a free camera today.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Clearing skies continue as we go through the afternoon, and the winds stay up. Gusty winds. It's a cold day. 35 for the high. Wind chills will be in the 20s, and really talking low to mid-20s. Tonight, clear and very cold. 19, 20 degrees for the overnight low. That's a hard freeze for everybody. On Tuesday, sunshine, chilly to cold, 42 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at brooklinen.com. If you're a longtime listener, you've probably heard us talk about Brooklinen before. They have beautiful home essentials, bedding, sheets, towels, and much, much more that don't cost an arm and a leg. From your bed to your bathroom, you've got comfort covered, and this holiday is no exception. And best of all, Brooklinen's biggest sale of the year is coming soon. Brooklinen has got so many options, especially for gifting. Always those people on your gift-giving list that are going to be difficult to buy for. That's why we have almost literally everything. We have candles, we have silk eye masks, we have scrunchies, we have things for your home, we have athletic wear, we have leisure wear, we have things for your bathroom, everything to make your life easier and cozier. So cozy up to Brooklinen's biggest sale of the year happening right now. Get huge savings and free shipping during Brooklinen's biggest sale of the year. 20% off your order only at brooklinen.com. Use promo code Glover to let them know you're from the DGS.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Okay, class, let's bump it up to 9.
Come on, Limu, keep pedaling. We got to build our endurance to let more people know that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Pick up the pace, bird legs.
Hey, don't talk to Limu like that.
I'm not, I'm talking to you.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
Napa know-how.
At Napa, you can get 20% off 3 or more items with a $4.99 Napa tool bag. Yep, 20% off power tools, 20% off wipers, 20% off oil, and more. It's a whole bag of tricks. Well, actually, it's one trick over and over again, but it's a good one, saving you 20% on 3 or more items. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating locations, exclusions apply. May not be combined with other offers. Offer ends 11/30/20.
When you're looking for a home, you need somebody who's going to work their tails off to get that home for you. When you're looking to sell it, you want somebody who's going to work their tails off to sell it for top dollar as fast as possible. And then I've got really good news for you, because that's the Monsheen team. We have those folks that are so incredibly kind and caring. They're going to treat you like family. Their relationships with the people who they get to be realtor for, they last. And that's because they care about you. I want to talk to you about the #1 agents for Berkshire Hathaway Alliance Real Estate since 2005. Christy and JT have over 60 plus years of experience, and they are the top sellers in the West. You need to reach out to them at 636-537-8288. That's 636-537-8288. These are great people. They're family people, and they know that they can take care of you. Life is going fast. Life is moving fast. And this is where they're experts. They can take this pressure off of you and get your house sold in a jiffy. Reach out to them at 636-537-8288. Online at themonsheenteam.com. That's MONSEHEIN team.com.
You can listen to 97.1 on radio.com through your smart speaker. It's information with perspective. Just ask it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Dell Technologies. Call 877-ASK-DELL. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Let me warn you all that we are in great danger if we fall under a Biden administration. Our state, California, is being ruled by a leftist mob. Himself, Governor Newsom, is taking away our freedom, your freedom. He's a disgrace to mankind, he and his relative Nancy Pelosi, who has tried to bring President Trump down. Governor Newsom has destroyed many lives of people who depended on their businesses, and now he wants to shut down again. He is a lie, like all the left that are trying to destroy the USA.
That is John Voight. I was trying to look up his name from National Treasure. Who was he in National Treasure? Man, such good movies. Highly recommend both of them. But he's been so outspoken in a really, really consistent way about the direction this country is headed with President Trump and the direction it will be headed if we have President Biden. And I'm looking now at some of the nominations that Joe Biden has had for his cabinet positions. And we have a Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary. What's that going to mean for this country? Well, that's why we have Stephen Moore on. He is the senior economic contributor at Freedom Works, and he's got a book called Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive the Economy, and revive the economy it sure did. Great to have you back, Stephen. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving full of turkey and pie and a good time. Good to have you back.
You too. It was a great Thanksgiving. We had beautiful weather. All the family was back, and so it was a really great time of the year. I want to start by commenting on what you were just talking about, Annie, with respect to John Voight. Mm-hmm. I know John Voight pretty well. He and I have become friends. You know, he's one of the few conservatives in Hollywood, and actually there are more conservatives in Hollywood than you might think, Annie, except they're afraid to speak out. Yeah. You know, because it'll destroy their careers. And you know, John Voight is especially heroic and courageous because he is willing to put his money where his mouth is and really speak out against injustice. And I just about 2 weeks ago, I was in California right before Thanksgiving, and it was a mess there. I mean, all the restaurants were shut down, curfews, stay-at-home orders, small businesses were shuttering, and that is just a disgrace. There's no evidence that doing that will contain the spread of this virus, and it puts a lot of these small businessmen and women into bankruptcy. And I saw, men and women with tears in their eyes saying, I put my whole life in this business, and now because of a governor's order, I'm going to have to shut it down. And once you go into bankruptcy and you sell your assets, the business is gone.
Yeah, it's really sad to see. That's why just before the last break there, I'm going to start spending 2 to 5 minutes just propping up some local small businesses who are selling stuff for Christmas that people need to go because they need help, and it's going to come from us. You have to help your
local businesses. That's a great point. We order out a lot now from restaurants, even though my wife could cook and she likes to cook, but we want to give the business to these businesses so they don't fail. And, another thing is to make sure, normally you give 15% tip, we're giving 25 and 30% tip to the servers because their business, they don't have many tables to wait on. So, it's really important to help your, local shops and your local workers and the people, except the people at the grocery stores and things like that. They're the people, Annie, who kept our economy going.
Yeah. I want to ask you about this Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary, Joe Biden's nominee for Treasury Secretary. What would that mean if she gets confirmed? What would that mean for the Treasury, for our economy?
Well, Janet Yellen's a very smart lady. She's been around. She was the Fed chairman, as many people know, under Barack Obama. She did a fine job. I don't have any real complaints with her. I don't agree with some of her policies, but that's what we have elections for. And if Biden is declared the winner, and I still haven't given up, but if he is on December 5th or 6th when the states certify, then we could do it. Let me put it like this, Annie: we could do a lot worse than Janet Yellen. At least it's not AOC, or it's not the senator from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren. So she's pretty standard. I mean, what I'm seeing unfold here, Annie, is basically Obama's third term, right? Because look at all the people who've been appointed to the position so far, the communication staff, the White House people, the people who are going to run in the agencies. It's just the retreads of the Obama administration. So the swamp that we were trying to drain, the crocodiles were coming back out of the swamp.
Yeah.
Stephen Moore is senior economic contributor at Freedom Works on the phone with us. Does that mean, Stephen, that these people are not necessarily far left progressives, but they are, and they're just kind of part of the machine? Where do they fall?
It's hard to tell, how far to the left they are. I don't think Janet Yellen is a leftist. I don't think, some of the people that Biden is talking about for some of these other positions are. But, when you have a president coming in, presumably, Joe Biden, who says one of my top, priorities when I get to the White House is going to be climate change. I mean, I'm sorry, I have a problem with that. I mean, we're in the middle of a health pandemic. Hopefully that'll be solved by the time the Trump vaccine is out. But we still have millions of people unemployed. We have these small businesses that are failing. We've got, crime in the streets. We've got an education system that's rotting to the core. And I mean, it's just preposterous to me that this new president would come in and say, my highest priority is climate change. I mean, come on. Let's solve the problems of today, not the problems of 50 years from now. And it shows a lack of priority. And if everything is a priority, then nothing becomes a priority. But we got to do schools. We got to fix our healthcare system. We got to solve the pandemic. We got to get people on the job. We got to get businesses running again. Why? Somebody explain to me why those aren't the top priorities for Joe Biden.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, the priorities of this President Trump's economy have had a lot to do with your influence at the beginning. That's what your book is about, Trumponomics. What has the president put in place? What has been in his economic plan that you expect to withstand maybe Congress, maybe an executive order that Biden decides not to go into? What has President Trump done to just cause this economy to come roaring back twice now that you think will withstand the test of a Biden administration?
Well, that's a really good point. I think that Trump has been tremendously successful in the economy. I think most Americans would agree. I mean, I was looking, Amy, at some of the exit polling. Even people who voted for Biden said they trusted Trump. Trump more on the economy than Biden. So people realize he's been an incredible economic steward. And you're right, he's fixed it twice, hasn't he, Amy? I mean, first he did it with the he did it first with the taking over from Obama when the economy was in very poor shape, and we got the best economy ever by the end of his third term in office, and then we get crashed by this by this terrible pandemic, once in a century pandemic. And my goodness, what's amazing, Annie, is nobody, not even me, expected the economy would be where it is today. They didn't think the unemployment rate would be this low until 2022.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
It's been phenomenal.
How'd he do it? I don't know how he did it. But now we got this, Operation Warp Speed. There's no doubt in my mind right now, if we have the election tomorrow, Donald Trump would win easily. Nobody expected that we'd have this really strong economy. Now, there's still a lot of work to be done, but we're way ahead of schedule. We got the vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of lives in the United States, get businesses open, and think about the rest of the world. We're talking about saving tens of millions of lives. That's a heroic achievement. I would call this, and I'm not exaggerating, I've gotten some trouble on the internet, and social media for saying this, but this is one of the greatest victories since D-Day.
Wow. Yeah.
Stephen Moore, are you, as an economist, concerned at all about this idea that I'm seeing out there right now about the stock market kind of being propped up by this artificial money that was put into the economy through the stimulus? That's what 10, 20% of our GDP was kind of artificially placed into the economy. Are we in trouble, beyond this moment, down the line, that this is going to hit us?
There's a superstition that's become almost a religion of the left that the way you can prop up an ailing economy is by printing money and by having the federal government spend money. And I reject both of those things. That's not true. Wouldn't it be wonderful, by the way, if it were true, all we had to do is print money, Annie, and we'd have a great economy? Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing?
I thought the same thing when I was a teenager and I wanted money from my dad. It didn't really work out for me.
Mexico and Argentina and Venezuela and all these countries have tried that. That was a story that didn't have a happy ending. So I'm concerned about that. The idea, all we have to do is just print money. And then there are a lot of, I was reading the newspaper this morning, Wall Street Journal. Oh, all the economists agree we need another $2 or $3 trillion spending bill. No, we don't. We just need to get our economy going. We need to get our businesses open. We need to get the vaccine out there. You know what? My line on this, guys, is that the number one stimulus for the economy is called the Trump vaccine. Because once that vaccine is out there, and that's going to happen in the next 3 or 4 weeks, all of a sudden businesses can reopen. People can go back on the job, and people can feel good about going to the schools and the movie theaters and the restaurants. So that's the stimulus we need, not more government spending.
Yeah, we're seeing that Arizona appears to have certified their results. The legislature there seems to have certified their results today. I don't know where these legal challenges to this election are going to take us. We wait and see. The Electoral College still has to vote. That's going to pretty much be the moment we know where this is headed. For people who are looking and feeling as though this is likely going to be a Biden administration as of the end of January, where do fiscal conservatives go with their energy, with their frustration? How do they engage and participate in trying to encourage people, the legislators? What do they do if they want to have some action so that they can continue to push in this conservative fiscal direction?
So, Annie, are you getting every morning our hotline, a prosperity hotline? Are you getting that every morning?
Freedom Works?
No, it's their Committee to Unleash Prosperity. I want to make sure you're getting that because
tell me where to go get it.
So make sure that your producer gives me your email. And by the way, I want all your listeners, if you want to just get something every morning that just gives you up to date on the economy and politics and stuff. Newt Gingrich says it's the first thing he reads every morning. So I want to make sure you guys get it because the reason I mentioned it is the number one item in our. We usually put 5 or 6 items in each newsletter, and sometimes some humor items and things like that. But the number one item is there was no blue wave. There was no blue wave. This is a conservative country, Annie. Yeah. And look at the results from coast to coast. Other than Republicans losing the White House by a hair's breadth, Republicans won everything else. On the state level, I don't know. I don't remember what happened in Missouri, but even in Illinois, one of the most liberal states, Republicans picked up seats. They picked up seats in California, in New York. Republicans picked up seats. They regained the New Hampshire. They picked 180 seats in state legislatures, 180 and 40 Senate seats across the country. And the Democrats outspent the Republicans 4-1. Now, this is a conservative country. People should not be disheartened. I'm feeling a little depressed because I love Donald Trump. I think he's been one of our great presidents. But I'll tell you this, I'll support Joe Biden if he does the right thing. I will oppose him when he does the wrong thing. I hope he does the right thing. But if he doesn't, I think Donald Trump comes back big time in 2024.
Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride.
Exactly.
Continue to be.
Yep.
Stephen Moore joining us from Freedom Works. We will get attached to that mailer.
Yes.
And if Newt Gingrich is reading it every morning, that's what I want to read every morning.
All right.
Thank you
guys.
so
Have
much.
a great week. Talk to
You as
soon.
well. Chairman of the Task Force on Economic Revival at Freedom Works. He's a visiting fellow at Heritage Foundation, and he's a joy to have on the show every Monday to give us these updates. It really is. It's being understated significantly here. The amount of Republican victory that took place on election night, and it's overshadowed by what is likely to be a Biden win. Now, if some of the stories that are out there that suggest some of the voter fraud that they're saying, if they've proven that, if they can get to the point where they can prove that to be, real and evidentiary in front of a potential Supreme Court scenario, I can't even stress how this is way bigger than Donald Trump. Yeah. And I look at what they tried to do to steal the election from Donald Trump in 2016. Why would they not try again? I just am not, I'm too naive, and I'm not a naive person. I am in some things, but not in politics. I'm very aware that evil is real and exists. But I'm looking at the things that we're seeing with the Dominion voting systems, Smartmatic, and what we're seeing from some of these lawyers who are not part of Trump's team, what they're revealing. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, I just can't, I'm not signing up for it yet, because I am a Thomas on this one. I'm going to need to see it to believe it, because I don't want to get all wrapped up in something that is going to not come to fruition. But I'm kind of like side-eyeing it. I'm looking at it going, it would make a really good movie. Are we living in a movie right now? It's hard to tell. We're going to watch it. We're going to follow it. And I made a commitment to you that I'm not going to bring to you conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy, because it gets dizzying, but we will bring you the facts. And I agree with what Stephen Moore says. When Biden does the right thing, we can support him. When he does the wrong thing, you better believe we're going to call him out. I have a little theory about which one we're going to be doing more often. But we'll see. Interesting to hear that he not too terribly freaking out about the Treasury Secretary pick there from Biden's administration. Quick break. When we come back, let's talk about some stuff. We got Zach Smith coming at 1:40 as well to talk about more Trump legal challenges and voter fraud. Stick around. More Annie Frey Show in a minute.
And this house just ain't no home anytime.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Anytime she goes away.
Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
Any of y'all get into the habit of giving your significant other something really practical, but probably a little bit expensive, and you're like, oh, it could be our Christmas gift. Yay, we can get this couch, or we can redo the flooring in our house. Well, if flooring is your Christmas gift to one another, Michael's Flooring Outlet's probably the best place to go. You want to know why? Because you're going to get the best value for it, and it's going to be a quality product. Customer service at Michael's Flooring Outlet is top notch. You are going to get matched with the flooring that is going to be perfect for your space. They're going to take into consideration your circumstances, that look that you want to have, and they're going to match you with the technology and the flooring that's going to get you there. And you're going to love the value you get from Michael's Flooring Outlet. They have Mohawk Smart Strand for Everclean, Aero, Revwood Plus flooring. They have waterproof flooring. That waterproof flooring can come in a finish that looks like wood, and also it can finish like stone. So if you're looking for flooring this holiday season and you want that great deal and that great quality, there's just one place to go. St. Charles County, West County, and Darien Prairie, but it's Michael's Flooring Outlet every time. michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. Have you locked in on your refinance yet? What are you waiting for? Mortgage rates are still in the twos, but you need to get locked in now. You could be saving hundreds, even thousands of dollars a month. And how nice would it be to pay off all the credit cards and have cash in the bank? Get pre-approved for whatever lies ahead with a simple refinance. Apply online today with our 5-minute loan approval, only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
What a year this has been.
For St. Patrick Center clients, pandemic worries are magnified. How to pay rent, find a job, buy groceries, care for children, and more. St. Patrick Center programs and services are needed now more than ever. This holiday season, help prevent homelessness in our community. Your gift helps keep a family safe at home. To donate, visit stpatrickcenter.org. Thanks to you, veterans, families, and individuals will be home for the holidays.
An unprecedented year like 2020 calls for an unprecedented holiday offer from Diamonds Direct. So, for the first time ever during December, we're allowing 4 years zero-interest financing on anything and everything. It's our way of helping you make her holiday one to remember. Just pick any beautiful piece of jewelry, take the price, divide by 48, and that's your payment. A $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings is just $84 a month. And we have the gifts women love. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, all new fashion jewelry from top designers. And of course, the largest selection of engagement rings and certified diamonds in the country. After all she's been through in 2020, now's the perfect time to let her know how much you love her. Reward her with a gift that is romantic, timeless, and symbolic. And with 48 months zero-interest financing, you can afford to splurge. Diamonds Direct, helping you make that magical moment this holiday season. Shop online at diamondsdirect.com or in person in our showroom. Diamonds Direct.
Olive and 270 at City Place.
I'm listening daily. You are not alone. During these challenging times, listening is fundamental to promoting understanding and healing. Here's licensed therapist Dr. James Simmons on concerns over the safety of vaccines.
There have been vaccine controversies since we started doing vaccines, right? So for 150 years or so, this is not new, this controversy around this. The technology with this vaccine is a little bit new, but coronaviruses in general are not new to scientific research. Developing vaccines are not new. We don't generally do it this fast, but there's also so many eyes and ears and checks and balances in place. We are very good at vaccines. So we definitely need to see the data. We definitely need to be reassured that safety has been followed and that these are going to be safe. But I also think at the same time, there's potential for these to be extremely safe. So that's great news.
Talk has the power to save lives. Find out more at imlistening.org.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Air Comfort Service.
Regardless of any concerns or problems we may have, we all need to understand that we still live in the greatest country ever.
So, and that's Jim Jordan. And I think that that's a good reminder that we do still live in the greatest country ever. And regardless of who becomes the president in January, I think we still live in the greatest country ever. It's going to be up to us to defend it, of course. And if you, what was it, Abraham Lincoln said that, you know, house divided against itself cannot stand. Thank you for finishing my sentence for me. I was trying to think of who. I was like, okay, first, this is Abraham Lincoln, right? This wasn't like something that an Abraham Lincoln impersonator said.
Well, he's quoting the Bible,
in a what?
He's quoting the Bible. So.
Oh yeah, and so you know, I think when you look at what's coming in January, if it's a Biden presidency, I mean, anybody who supported Joe Biden has to be remotely concerned about his ability to manage the job. Nobody is out there saying, of course he can do the job. Nobody is saying that. Like, name somebody who is out there aggressively defending Joe Biden's wits and his stamina. Nobody is doing it. It's always been anything but Trump. And we're going to have anything but Trump. Joe Biden fell playing with his dog, which I've heard people say it wasn't even a big dog, it was a puppy. Katie, you've got a puppy at home, which is now turning into a big dog. I think it's much more likely to trip over a puppy or fall over a puppy than it is a big dog.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Especially whenever he was 10 pounds.
I mean, it was really easy to just like not know where he was. And
they're
trip
all
over
over the
your own
place.
feet. Yeah, they're running back and forth. They're high energy. They're small. I mean, you could definitely trip over your feet. But Marty's about 45 pounds now, and he could really, really maul me down.
Do you
He's a big
think that when President Trump, I mean, getting COVID at Trump's age, and as we continue to hear, Trump's BMI, and when you get COVID and you go to the hospital, it's a big deal. Did the media handle, Katie, how do you feel about the coverage of Joe Biden's fall? Does it need to be a big deal?
I think anytime the president has to visit the hospital, it should be reported, just because I guess at the time that it happened, we didn't know why he was visiting. And then it came out later that he tripped over his dog. But the way the media handled it was much more affectionate, which is crazy because Trump had COVID, and it was more of a see, I told you so moment that came from the media when Trump had COVID and he had to go to the hospital for it. This was like the way they handled this was like, and they warm wishes, well regards to Biden. We love him. We want nothing for the best for him.
I saw somebody tweeted, I wonder if there's enough room on Joe Biden's cast for the entire press to sign it.
Right. Right.
Which is just really a funny, like, it's funny. It's going to be humorous because if you don't laugh, you'll cry kind of a situation to watch Joe Biden's administration take on the shoulder massages that are going to be coming from this press corps. And, you know, there's going to be there will to think about how a conservative leaning and also I would remind you that they can change the makeup of the press corps. Trump let in bloggers. Trump let in like independent private people who are not attached to, you know, maybe they'll give 2 more seats to CNN or whatever. I don't know. I'm making stuff up as I go here. But what the Biden administration's press corps looks like, the makeup of it could look different than President Trump's. Is the Biden administration going to kick out people who they don't want in there? They don't consider legitimate that the Trump folks thought would sound better in a press corps room compared to another CNN, MSNBC reporter. But is there any possible way that this is going to evolve into something where we're going to get real answers? Or when we look back to the Obama administration, just the utter softness of the press briefings and the questions that were being asked. Like, are we going to get hardball questions at all, Ryan, do you think, from the press corps once Biden's administration gets in?
I mean, the fact that this whole dog thing, before it was that he tripped over his dog, which is a story. You know, if the guy who might be the next president goes in the hospital, that's a story. But the fact that the story before that was that he had gotten a dog and maybe a cat, and that was pretty much the headline over the weekend. It was like, come on, this is foreshadowing what exactly we're going to get for the possible next 4 years.
I'm looking forward to seeing what I'm looking forward to seeing what CNN. I don't really care about MSNBC because I feel like they are. CNN is way more disingenuous about who and what they are to me than MSNBC and some of these other places. I'm curious to see how CNN reacts to this. I'm curious to see if it's immediately clear, you know, if it's immediately clear how much they are going to need to subsidize Joe Biden's inability to communicate, to present the story, whatever the story is on that given day. You know, will we see Joe Biden in these press briefings the way we would see Trump from time to time? No, that will not be happening. You know, I don't see President Biden out there doing things in front of the camera where there's a lot of opportunities for, you know, handshakes with foreign leaders who come in. It's just going to look really different. Is it going to look like it used to? I don't think so, because I don't think that you can put Biden out there the way you could put Obama out there. I don't think you could put Biden out there the way you could put Clinton out there. He's not charismatic. He's not really likable because of who he is. He's really likable to a lot of people compared to Trump. But in the absence of Trump, which, I've said that before and people are like laughing at me, like, why do you think that there's going to be an absence of Trump? There's going to be plenty of Trump. I don't know. I look at this and I see an opportunity for a lot of Americans to turn on their televisions and really see for themselves what is going on here. And I don't know how many people will.
Well, I think that too, Annie, just you talking about how the press pool is going to be different and these press briefings are going to be different. We traded in a president that was incredibly transparent for now back to the status quo. We traded in someone that was willing to go out there and speak to the press for an hour before he jumped on a plane, or for 30 minutes before he jumped on a plane, and take question after question after question after press briefings. We're trading that in now for the media to go back to filtering out our news and telling us what we want to hear. And look, I know that this Trump presidency, I know it's been a whirlwind. I know it's been crazy. Whether that be good or whether it bad, we've gotten some entertainment value out of it. But people decided that they didn't want that kind of truth anymore, and that they would rather have a relaxed, calm, possibly, I hate to even say, but possibly even an ignorant way of looking at the White House again. And that's what we're going to get. So I hope everybody that voted for Biden is satisfied.
Yeah. I really do believe that, kind of to what you said, if once Trump is out, lots of people are going to just go back on autopilot.
Yes.
And when Trump is, like Trump tweets, the news talks about it. He has them on puppet strings. Trump can do anything and say anything. And, of course, it's going to be negative press, but he can take the press in the direction that he wants to take them in. And they just follow like sheep. It's really unbelievable. If in the absence of that, Joe Biden's not going to be doing anything like that. He's the exact opposite of that. And I feel as though he's going to be managed by an incredible amount of people who are going to be pushing the administration in one direction or the other. These are going to be people that A, we didn't elect, and B, we're not going to see. But it's going to be difficult for the American people to be as involved and concerned about what's going on, because I think the point is for it to be uninteresting. We're going to follow it here, and we're going to continue to report on that. And again, I go back to what Stephen Moore said, and I think it's such a huge, huge point to look at. Currently, according to the New York Times count, the Republicans have gained 9 seats in the House, but there are 7 seats still ready to call. I mean, they're gaining seats in California, folks. There is something going on a local level that is indicating, as Stephen Moore said, and if you missed it, you're going to want to go to radio.com and rewind and listen to the 1 o'clock, the beginning of the 1 o'clock hour, or just check it out at 971talk.com/Annie, wherever you get your podcasts. This country has shown itself to be much more conservative than anybody in the media is going to tell you. And what does that mean? What does it mean to be conservative? To people who aren't conservative, it means something about being hyper religious, really super judgy, probably just a tinge racist. You don't know you're racist, but you are. And it would be better if you soon became, came to realize who you really are and became more open-minded. And by open-minded, I'm telling you, you need to think exactly like I do, which is really ironically not open-minded at all. Strange, isn't it? The conservative movement is the side of the political spectrum that really says it's very, very more libertarian than it has ever been before. Maybe the government can take a hike in every instance where it doesn't need to oversee every inch of your life. Maybe we want to put the emphasis on the American individual, the taxpayer, the voter, the citizen, to make the most of whatever opportunity exists for them. And maybe the government needs to get out of the way so that they can take that opportunity and seize that moment. Look at blue state after blue state after blue state. And from the top down, you're having that opportunity taken away from you. And I think people are starting to realize that. And I think people are starting to realize that on a local level. And I'm looking at this map on the New York Times website that has the, I guess, the congressional the congressional makeup of the country, boy, it's a red United States, folks. It is very red. Those dense populous places, yep, we get it. We know it. You're blue. We see you. But this rest of this country is looking pretty red. And I think that is something that is definitely worth paying attention to, regardless of who becomes the president in January. Stick around. When we come back, Zach Smith's going to update us with the Heritage Foundation on the legal challenges that are out there, where they're going, if they have steam. We'll talk to him as soon as we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating over 50 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage is the kind of guy that once that you've worked with him, you want to tell people about him because he's super helpful and he's helpful in the pocketbook. So it works for you. And then you immediately want to like look around your house, your family, your loved ones, your friends and family, and be like, who else could use Stewie's services? And the truth is if you got a mortgage, chances are you could use Stewart's American Mortgage in the bagel loan. The bagel loan is original and only at Stewart's American Mortgage. The bagel loan is a way to purchase a home or to do a refinance on a home where you don't have to pay that heap of fees that's going to come along with every other lender out there. You know, you hear them all say low rates, as low as they possibly could be, historic lows. You get it before it goes up. Yes, all of that stuff applies to Stewie too, but you can get all of that for way less with Stewie. And that's why I did my refi with Stewie as well. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. That's his personal cell phone. Call him, text him, mention my name when you do. Tell him I said hi and get your bagel loan process started right away. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
This is Happy from Hardee's. Listen closely. Do you hear that? That's the sizzling sound of 2 1/3 pound juicy Angus beef patties stacked with 4 strips of bacon on the Monster Angus Thick Burger. You're getting hungry for the bacon. You're driving to the Angus beef. But wait, don't take your eyes off the road for the monster. When I snap my star fingers, you'll pull into the nearest Hardee's and order the Monster Angus Thick Burger. Feed your happy.
Available at participating restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
Looking for ways to be happier? Check out the podcast Happier with Gretchen Rubin. Every episode is crammed with ideas and tips to help make your life more productive, more creative, healthier, and happier.
When I was doing my happiness project, I got the idea because I realized, what do I want from life? I want to be happy. But I realized I didn't spend any time thinking about happiness or how to be happier. So what I decided to do was to spend a year, because a year felt long enough for there to be actual change, but not so long that it felt interminable. A year focusing on my happiness. And so I did a huge amount of research on, ancient wisdom, the contemporary science, lessons from popular culture, talking to the people around me. Research shows that people who construct their goals in concrete terms are 50% more likely to feel confident that they will attain their goals and significantly more likely to feel in control of their lives.
Find Happier with Gretchen Rubin on radio.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
The Dave Glover Show.
Honestly, I can't remember the last time on anyone but Fox I heard them say something actually positive. I can't. It doesn't happen.
Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Throw a little salt on my doorstep. Burn a little candle or two.
Shine a little light on the part of me that won't stop thinking of you. Better look over my shoulder.
So someone should only get a ballot in the mail if they ask for one. But Democrats were able to create this universe of millions of ballots, and then they were not processed as they came in most states. We did do that in Florida, by the way. Instead, what they did is process them, 2, 4, 600,000 at the time. Then they exclude the observers, and then they just wrap those polluted ballots into a broader universe. And I think that is where we're proving the fraud, but not obtaining the remedies that we would like to see.
That's Congressman Matt Gaetz talking about fraud, polluted ballots. There are a lot of stories out there. There are a lot of people who are reporting on a lot of different things. And I think it's kind of hard to comb through everything and make sure that what you're following is actually factual information. That's why we wanted to get an expert on here. And I want to talk about something else that is going on here too as well. We've got the fraud lawsuits that are going on across the country, but we also have Carter Page, who has filed a lawsuit against what took place in the 2016 election. The Carter Page lawsuits just took place last Friday, and Zach Smith is here to talk to us about those as well. Zach, a legal fellow from Heritage Foundation, heritage.org. Great to have you back on the show with us. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for having me on, Annie. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let me ask you about what Carter Page did this past week. Lots of people might have missed it in the holiday week. What can you tell us about the actions that he's taken and how what took place in 2016 affected his life, how he's trying to remedy that right now?
Sure. If you remember, this all ties back into the Russia collusion investigation. We heard a lot of information and discussion about FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, which is basically this very secretive court that processes applications, issues warrants when our intelligence agencies seek to essentially listen in or obtain information involving American citizens. And if you remember, one of the key players in this Russia collusion investigation was somebody named Carter Page. He was a campaign advisor to Donald Trump. And it turned out that he got caught up in this investigation. And in fact, the FBI obtained information related to him through this foreign intelligence surveillance process. And it turned out they obtained the warrants to do this based on faulty information. And so Carter Page on Friday last week, basically he filed a lawsuit against several high-ranking officials, including James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Kevin Kleinsmith, and others, basically alleging harm, causes of action under several different statutes, FISA, the Federal Tort Claims Act, something called a Bivens claim and Privacy Act claim, basically seeking damages, saying that these individuals improperly used this process, and he's seeking to hold them accountable through a civil lawsuit.
So, I'm looking right now at what's going on. A lot of accusations taking place about this election. I'm sure that there are Republicans who feel, well, I know that there are Republicans who feel as though this election was stolen from Donald Trump, and they're trying to do something right now in this moment to fix it. In 2016, there were a lot of accusations, a lot of people, high-profile people, Hillary Clinton herself, who were saying that the election was stolen from her. This Crossfire Hurricane and this investigation into Carter Page was really something that was kind of hidden in the dark while we were looking at Russia collusion. We spent a lot of time as a country on Russia collusion. In the midst of all of the assertion that somehow or another President Trump colluded with Russia to take this election away from the American people, how much evidence do we have as a country that any of that actually took place? And in Carter Page's instance here, in Carter Page's story, how much was he used and manipulated to try to create a story that would have subsidized however much information we actually got, however much evidence actually exists that Russia was actually involved in colluding with President Trump?
Well, let me be clear, Annie. With all of the investigations, both congressional and by the various inspector generals, specifically the Department of Justice IG, there's been found no evidence to bear out this idea that President Trump and his team were colluding with Russia. We've had thorough investigations, a lot of eyes on the problem, and really no one found evidence to support the allegations that many in the media and elsewhere were making about Russia collusion. And Carter Page, unfortunately, he was really a victim in a lot of ways of this government overreach. If you remember Kevin Kleinsmith, he's an FBI lawyer who admitted to falsifying a key email that the FBI relied on in making representations to the FISA court to get a warrant to surveil the Trump campaign, including, Carter Page, among others. And so really, Carter Page wasn't so much used as he was a victim of this overreach by many in our intelligence community, especially by the FBI and others who were leading this investigation into, the Trump campaign's potential collusion. And so while there was no evidence of collusion found, what we are seeing and what's come out from many of these investigations and IG reports are disturbing evidence, disturbing information about the FBI and the Department of Justice not following their own procedures and protocols, and really in many ways violating the rights of American citizens.
Zach Smith is legal fellow at Heritage Foundation. Zach, Carter Page is suing the FBI. That seems pretty uncommon. Is that a normal thing, and is it usually successful?
Well, so it's not necessarily uncommon. We see a lot of these lawsuits if someone alleges that, a federal agent searched their vehicle or their home improperly, or they used excessive force on them while arresting them. But the facts behind this case are unique. And specifically, Carter Page has sued individual defendants, Jim Comey, Andrew McCabe, Kevin Kleinsmith, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and others, really going after them for actions that they took. And so the cause of action, Federal Tort Claims Act, Bivens claims, others, those aren't uncommon. Federal courts see those every day. But certainly the procedural posture of this case, the facts giving rise to this case are very unique. And unfortunately, frankly, it is very difficult for plaintiffs to recover in many of these types of cases. And so Carter Page, he's going to, again, he'll face an uphill battle like many of these other plaintiffs would, I anticipate. But what will be really interesting is if his lawsuit survives a motion to dismiss and he's granted discovery, the ability to ask some of these defendants questions under oath, the ability to require them to produce different documents or answer certain questions. That will be really interesting to see what information comes out of that, and if any new information that wasn't previously uncovered by either the House investigation or the IG investigation will come out, and we'll learn more about exactly how this process unfolded.
Zach Smith, thank you so much for the time today. I think this is an interesting story to follow. And as it continues to get steam here, we'll reach back out to you to get the latest.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me on. Take care.
Of course, you as well. Legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Find them online at heritage.org. I wonder, I see somebody Joe on Facebook commented like, Annie, I can't believe that you don't think Trump is going to be that he's going to not end up being a two-term president. And I'll tell you this, I have heard so many stories of like, just wait. Once this happens, once the Durham report gets here, there's just so many things. I think a lot of people are like this. You want it to be true. What I want to be true, what I want to happen, and what I think will actually happen. I just don't have a lot of optimism surrounding, this massive boom being lowered that people expect. And I don't think that, so much of what we are up against is time. It's a clock. And if you have this mounting of evidence that suggests one thing, if the other side can run out the clock, it doesn't matter if you have the best shooter in the entire nation. If he's on the bench, if he's not out there on the floor hitting threes, it doesn't matter because the clock will run out. And I think that what this Democratic Party politically has done is just work the clock. I mean, good grief. I remember when my husband and I were coaching grade school girls basketball, and we came up with a philosophy, and it was clock management. If how many times when an 8th grade girls basketball team goes down the floor, how many times are they going to actually score? It's not as many as you would like, even for your own team. So if you get a lead of 4 baskets, you got to figure out how frequently. This is how much of a nerds we are. How much time does it take, generally speaking, for a team to score a basket? And as long as you're up 4 baskets, 5 baskets, you don't even have to score. You just have to make sure that you run the clock out before they have the opportunity to score enough times. You got to protect the ball, of course. And I feel like Joe Biden's campaign, keeping him in the basement, they knew what they were doing. We're all looking at this like, dude wants to be the president of the United States and he's not going to come out of his basement? What is going on? How can he lead the free world? They knew what they were doing. It wasn't about offense ever. It was about managing the clock and making sure that Joe Biden didn't do anything to lose the game that he felt he was guaranteed to win. And I fear they probably did a pretty good job at it. So it's a pessimistic view. I think it's a realistic view, but that's what pessimists say. When we come back, we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to have a small business featurette here for you. You want to know where you can get hot chocolate bombs? Because I know. We'll be right back.
You have been hearing the phrase, others can't compete with Complete. So just exactly what does that mean? Well, at Complete Auto Body, they are the leaders in the industry and always strive to be the best. They offer touchless service, and they are proud to offer pickup and delivery to any of their services. Your safety is the utmost importance to them as they sanitize their shop several times a day. They are also offering $50 off any repair, big or small, for any new customers, even if the repair is $49. And then it's free for our first-time customers that require our auto body collision repair and or our mechanical service repairs. Lastly, while we repair your vehicle, don't worry. We have you covered with our loaner cars for only $9.99 per day while the car is in repair. To put it simply, they offer the complete experience. This is where they show you Complete's mission. They are a family and will serve you as if you were one of their own. With 5 convenient locations, others can't compete with Complete. CompleteAB.com.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple on the station as the financial expert for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend on 97.1 FM Talk, and in case you miss any of those shows, on his podcast on radio.com. That's radio.com, and search Safe Money 97.1. So call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DH Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. With all the bad news out there, it's easy to miss the good news. Mortgage rates are at historic lows, making now a great time to buy or refinance a home. My customers are locking in the best rates in a generation. Now is the time to use the equity in your home to cash out for a remodel, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or rid yourself of the dreaded PMI. During these volatile times, you need an experienced local loan officer working for you. Call me, Michael Mohan, at 314-336-6050. I'm here in St. Louis, and when you call, you talk to me. Whether you are purchasing or refinancing, I want to help you save money on your home loan. Michael Mohan at Community Mortgage, 314-336-6050. Online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, NMLS 250353224143.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health From Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health From Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
Do we have enough needles? Elisa Brady, Fox News. That's one of the things states are worried about as the federal government prepares for the possible distribution of a COVID-19 vaccine before year's end. The Government Accountability Office, a watchdog agency, says 17 states are greatly or completely concerned about having adequate supplies to administer vaccines. Another 21 states say they're moderately concerned. Moderna is the second company after Pfizer to seek approval of its vaccine.
Moderna saying its COVID-19 vaccine candidate is 94% effective. They also say in their trials it continues to show that it is safe. Secondly, though, the company's CEO, Stefan Bancel, also saying the severe cases in the trial were seen in those who ended up receiving the placebo. It is part of the reason why they are now applying to the FDA for their EUA. That is the emergency use authorization. The FDA set to take up Pfizer's candidate on December 10th, and Bancel suggested Moderna could potentially be 1 week after that.
Fox Business's Blake Berman at the White House. Health officials remain concerned about Thanksgiving travel, urging people to consider quarantining and even wearing a mask at home if they're around others who didn't make the trip. The TSA says more than 1 million people went through U.S. airports yesterday. That's the highest since March, though still much less travel overall than last Thanksgiving. As President-elect Joe Biden prepares to formally introduce his economic team tomorrow, another state is finished crunching numbers.
The votes have been tabulated. All 15 counties have certified their results.
Arizona Governor Doug Ducey announcing not only a win for Joe Biden, but Democrat and former astronaut Mark Kelly, who's to be sworn in as Arizona's new senator Wednesday. The president's lawyers at a hearing in Arizona today arguing their claims of election fraud are legitimate and deserves to be heard. America is listening to Fox News.
Dell Technologies has announced their Cyber Monday sale. They're releasing new doorbusters every weekday, plus up to 50% off cutting-edge tech for your business. There's no better time to upgrade your small business with the latest laptops and desktops with Intel Core processors, plus there's free shipping on everything. Yes, everything. Give Dell Technologies advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business. Call 877-ASK-DELL or go to Dell.com/SP Cyber Monday. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
At home with Robert, retired burglar and family man.
Carolers! That's the holiday spirit. Speaking of which, Simply Safe Home Security is having a huge holiday sale. Right now, you can get 50% off a new system and a free camera at simplysafe.com/holiday. That's 50% off the system U.S. News named the best of 2020. Simply Safe protects your whole home 24/7 with monitoring by professionals. The sale ends soon, so go to simplysafe.com/holiday for 50% off and a free camera today.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Clearing skies continue as we go through the afternoon, and the winds stay up. Gusty winds. It's a cold day. 35 for the high. Wind chills will be in the 20s, and really talking low to mid-20s. Tonight, clear and very cold. 19, 20 degrees for the overnight low. That's a hard freeze for everybody. On Tuesday, sunshine, chilly to cold, 42 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's a right fit for you. And check out the podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's digital editor, Megan Crane.
Have you called Thomas Helbig yet? 314-993-9494. Thomas Helbig is with the Retirement Advisory Group. He is the Retirement Advisory Group. And this man is going to help you be so comfortable and confident going into retirement. You'll wish you got in contact with him sooner. So I'll give you his number again. Type it into your phone. If you can't call him right now, just save it. It's Thomas Helbig Retirement Advisory Group, 314-993-9494. You need to have that no-cost, no obligation retirement review with him because he's going to walk you through tips and tricks that you probably don't know about because he's the expert and you're not, and you're trying and you're making your best effort. That's why you go to a guy like Thomas Helbig, somebody who is going to make sure you get to participate when the market goes up and not fret at all when the market goes down. Thomas Helbig is that guy. He's going to set you up to go into retirement, to have all of that money that you've saved up for you, all of that hard work that you've put into that savings account. It's going to pay off for you, and Thomas is going to make sure of it. Reach out to him for that special, no cost, no obligation retirement review. You're going to get a copy of his best-selling book, the second edition, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement, 314-993-9494, online at retirementkey.com.
Drafty, neglected, depressing. If this describes your home's doors and windows, you're in luck. Right now, Mosby Building Arts is offering 10% off all doors and windows, or no payments, no interest for 12 months. With Mosby, you'll soon be enjoying an energy-efficient home that can only be described as perfect. Call Mosby at 314-909-1800 or visit callmosby.com before December 15th to take advantage of these savings. Mosby Building Arts. Home never felt so good.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Boardroom, Out of Office Podcast. My name is Rich Kleiman, and I'm the co-founder of 35 Ventures, alongside my business partner, KD. This show is all about the stories, the successes, and the struggles that have driven my favorite entrepreneurs in sports, business, entertainment, and technology. We're going to be talking to industry leaders about who they are, how they got here, and the things they've learned along the way that you might not expect. So subscribe and listen on Apple Podcasts, radio.com, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Take a moment and rate your lifestyle on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is a life that's nothing like the life you were promised after getting good grades, a college degree, and a good job in corporate America. 10 is the life of your dreams. If you answered anything less than a 10, tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Tune in to the Del Walmsley Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7 on 97.1 FM Talk.
For everything that's happening, with analysis that's free and fair. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Don't miss a minute. Download the radio.com app or stream the station live anytime through your smart speaker. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for choosing to spend some time with us. You can, of course, always listen to us on 97.1 FM, but you can also check us out as we stream live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, and the Annie Frey YouTube page. I'm eating lunch right now, and I'm eating leftover green bean casserole. What is the best leftover? Like, what tastes best as a leftover from Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh man, David's mom makes this amazing broccoli cheddar casserole.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's by far David, or chicken and dumplings. Those are the two things that David and I go hard on as
Thanksgiving.
Leftovers. Yes, his grandma.
Chicken and dumplings for Thanksgiving?
His grandma
okay with
has
that.
like a special recipe for chicken and dumplings. So good.
It's snowing outside right here right now. Is it snowing where you are?
It was this morning, not anymore. It's
I mean,
very sunny now.
I was up at 2:00 in Madison County. Snow. I don't know, Ryan, if you have a window or anything where you are, but
I didn't look in the last 15 minutes, but it was earlier. It was snowing here. Yeah.
What's your favorite leftover? What tastes good the second time, or third, fourth, fifth?
I'll tell you what, the best one is probably a stuffing. If that stuffing has other good stuff in it, because it absorbs over time the taste of everything else in it.
What
it
kind of
becomes
good
just
stuff?
A big, like cranberries and
M&Ms.
M&Ms,
Gummy
Snickers,
bears.
basically just candy. And if you
It's
take out
actually
the
a
bread, then you can
dessert.
just eat candy. Yeah.
I said to my husband this year, he wanted to, he made Thanksgiving dinner, and I bake. That's generally speaking. When my grandma was here, I would always bring the desserts. I would make pies and whatever. I made cake balls, which I make good cake balls, folks. And you like them, Ryan?
Oh my gosh, yes. That's one of my
Okay.
favorite desserts, actually.
I made extras so like they're in the freezer so that they can go to Christmas. So you guys maybe have some cake pops in your future.
All right, I'll be at the door in a minute.
Okay. Just go in the freezer outside. You don't even have to. You
I'll
can
just
just
stand
take a
outside
plate.
the door.
Yeah, and eat some cake pops. And I also made a pumpkin pie because that is required. And then, oh my gosh, Christy Monsheen of the Monsheen team had me sent, and I guess it's an Annie Gunn's deep dish apple pie. I don't know what voodoo is in this apple pie, but this is a good apple pie. And let me just tell you about how amazing the Monsheen team is. If they are as good at selling houses as they are at picking delicious apple pies to send to people, they're the very best. I mean, they really are. TheMonsheenTeam.com. Go check them out. But it was the sweetest thing. And they sent it maybe Tuesday, I think it might have been. Because I think it was right after I got done with the last show I did last week. And I was still kind of like hemming and hawed over what I was going to bake. And normally I would bake an apple pie and a pumpkin pie. And I'm like, well, scratch that off the list. And I am glad that I had not baked an apple pie because it would have paled in comparison to this amazing apple pie. So the leftover desserts certainly is something I think is fantastic, but I'm hitting some green bean casserole right now and I am not mad about it.
Yes.
It is good stuff.
I
Turkey sandwiches too.
Oh,
Like,
I just had one today.
Are you a turkey sandwich eater? Like, Ryan, how many meals do you have on Thanksgiving? Like, do you go back for like a round 3 or 4 of Thanksgiving meal? What time do you eat? And
Yeah, I'll do that. You know what I usually do though is I get a big first round and then I just eat a lot of dessert because typically this year's a little different, of course, but typically we got a lot.
You
Yeah, I
like
know.
dessert?
Isn't that weird? But man, we had some green bean casserole this year that was basically just cheese with a few green beans in it, and it was awesome.
cheese makes everything better.
It rocked.
Well, in a few minutes here, we're going to be talking with Kara Miller, who is owner of Seams for the Soul Boutique in Edwardsville. And she's going to talk to us about hot chocolate bombs. Ryan, do you know what hot chocolate bombs are?
No, I don't.
Katie, you said you don't either?
I don't.
Why do I know about this trendy thing and you guys don't?
I know.
I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. I don't want to know about it.
No,
but
Ryan, that's not the objective. No.
Yeah,
So it's
we'll
not like
ask
a-
Kara. She might not come on the show now, but we'll ask Kara about what these hot chocolate bombs, why everybody's talking about them, and where you can get them. But I do want to take the opportunity, and I'm really just doing this right now. Like, this is something I have decided to do during the show. So the small businesses, I saw that like in-store shopping was down 52% for Black Friday. That's not good.
No.
And, you know, when you're looking at what to get people for Christmas, when you're looking at where to go to shop, you probably are wondering, is this place going to be open? Am I going to be able to go in and shop at this place? Is it going to be restricted? So I want to give people an opportunity to talk about what they've got going on, local folks here in the greater St. Louis area. So if that is you, or if you know somebody who would benefit from that, will you please have them message the Annie Frey Show Facebook page? Because we want to reach out to you, and we're not going to do full segments of this, but we're going to give you guys an opportunity to talk about what you're doing and to hopefully push some people in to support you. Because when we were speaking with Stephen Moore before, he was talking about his wife loves to cook, but they are spending a lot of time ordering out. We definitely have done that. At least my husband and I have done that. We don't do it for the whole family because that's super expensive. But making sure that you can go out and support these local restaurants, these local businesses, like, it seems important right now to do that. It's almost like the way to spread Christmas cheer right now is to just patronize these places. And, Ryan, do you do a lot of carry out? Do you do a lot of curbside to go? Do you do it more than you used to?
Yeah, we have been. We've been doing it more, and I'm always shamed because I try to remember to tip because it's not a natural thing to do when you're getting takeout. I've been trying to remember to do that, and we've been doing it more.
Yeah, and I think that it's just like it just makes a difference in real people's lives. Like I've got right now, on a tab right here, I have Amazon.com open, and it's Cyber Monday, and you can go shopping on Amazon, and I can get right here is a 36% off Nick's Play digital frames, and it's a digital frame, and it's a picture in the digital frame of a cat in a Santa Claus suit. I see what they're doing here. That's pretty cute, but I don't think I get that cat or the Santa Claus suit with that photo frame. But I mean, you can go online and you can buy anything and have it shipped to your door in 2 days. But when you go into a local business, when you go into a place where, somebody's livelihood is based on whether or not you shop there or not, I think that now more than ever, we need to be thinking about how we're actually doing a service to a neighbor, somebody who is on the Little League team with you, or maybe on the other side of the field, which is fine. Somebody who goes to church with you, somebody who you actually pass the person who's going to benefit from your purchase in the grocery store so they can buy food for their family. That's what we need to be doing. So if you're somebody who is like that, reach out to the Facebook page, Annie Frey Show on Facebook page. And when we do this, we're going to put these up online. We'll share them on our Facebook pages. I'm asking you to share them with your friends and family on social media, because this is how we're going to help each other out. Let's get to our guest right now. Kara Miller is a friend of mine. She's the owner of Seams for the Soul Boutique in Edwardsville. And let me tell you this, everybody who I know is raving about this store in Edwardsville. Kara, it's great to have you on the show with us. I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about hot chocolate bombs, because neither Ryan nor Katie have heard about them. And it's the first time I've ever known about something trendy before they did. So Kara, thanks for coming on here. Great to have you.
Hi, Annie. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hot chocolate bombs have quickly become the hottest item of the entire season. We've been restocking them every morning to pretty much sell out by the end of the day. So they are about the size, of a baseball, I guess I would say. And they're quite the experience. All of my kids love them. They are basically, they look like a cake pop without the stick in it. So you put it in your cup, you pour hot milk over the top, and after a little while it bursts open, all the hot chocolate comes out, all the marshmallows pop to the top of the cup. It's really fun, and everyone is trying to get their hands on them for stocking stuffers and gift baskets.
Ryan, does that sound like something you would enjoy? It's
know
hot
what?
Milk, chocolate, and marshmallow.
Does it involve me having to heat the water up, or can I have somebody else do
Milk!
that for me? Milk. Oh, then yes. Then yeah, I'm in. I'm in 100% in.
It's like, if it has to do with milk, he's up for it. So you've got these, and you're tell us about Seams for the Soul Boutique, because it's a really cool kind of hodgepodge of a whole bunch of different places that come together in this boutique that has something for everybody. Tell us about some of the people who you work with there and some of the other products that you have, other than the hot chocolate bombs, which we want to send everybody to go get right now.
Sure. Thanks, Annie. So we started out just as, I would say, more of a basic women's boutique with clothing and gifts and jewelry for sizes extra small up to 3X. I always wanted a really all-inclusive vibe, something for everyone. So we definitely have more of a moderate price tag. But here in Edwardsville, we have such an amazing community full of small businesses and really creative makers. So slowly over time, I've just grown my relationships with some of these wonderful ladies. And now we feature over a dozen local artists in my shop, in addition to, regular items you would find at other boutiques like clothing, jewelry, mugs and gifts and things like that. So we have something for everyone in here. Everything from vintage book pages that are hand lettered by the Lefty Letters, which is a local business, to vintage floral arrangements by the Secret Gardener, and weighted blankets made by Little Rookie Collection, laser cut wood signs by Modern Mills Designs. Those are just a few off the top of my head, but those were kind of the four ladies that started in the very beginning. It's been a lot of fun. We get to get our creative juices flowing and really help each other to grow our businesses during this unprecedented time.
Kara, I'm just wondering, you're kind of in a niche business, and Christmas is obviously going to be a big season for you, but you've been able to survive this whole thing so far. Has it been tough? Have you survived because the community's been deliberate about visiting you, or have you just been able to creatively get around some of these things?
Honestly, I would say it's a little bit of both. We really live in a wonderful community that keeps small business top of mind. Now that folks are able to visit again, they are definitely doing that. During the shutdown, though, we did have our doors closed from March 10th to May 28th. So that time, they really couldn't come in and visit to help us out. A lot of our community members still shopped with us online because we adapted a little bit and started to offer free shipping, customized gift baskets, and a curbside pickup. So they really did help us out there, but it was pretty difficult. I will admit there were a few days where I was able to get up to my store, but the door was locked, and we really had to think outside of the box. So, during the first shutdown that started in March, those were some seasonal times like Easter or graduation, times when folks were wanting to treat some of their friends that were having a hard time. Maybe they were a teacher or a nurse. So we came up with creative solutions like customized Easter baskets. So moms could just message us what they needed, whether they had a 1-year-old or a 14-year-old, girl or boy. We would customize a basket with the candy and have it ready to go. Same thing for the senior graduation times. We'd have a lot of those themed gifts that were all ready to go because people really couldn't go make 8 or 10 stops around town and put together their gifts like they normally do. So a combination of those two things really helped us to survive since March.
Yeah, I think it's so great to be able to see people like you, Kara, innovating in this time and trying to think forward so that you can, stay on your feet, but also help people who you still want to have Easter baskets. You still want to have Christmas gifts. So you've been really innovative in the way that you've been doing this. And again, you're partnering with other small businesses and giving them a place where they can sell their local made products. So the place is Seams for the Soul. It's in Edwardsville. The website is Seams for the Soul Boutique with the number 4. Is that right?
It's actually just seamsforthesoul.com. But yes, the number 4 is in there. So just Seams for the Soul.
And I want to ask you one simple question. If we've got a lot of gentlemen listening right now who are like, yeah, my wife would probably like this stuff, but I don't know what stuff. And they want to get them a neat, unique gift. Will you help out some gentlemen trying to get something, neat and fun for their wife or for their girlfriend? You help them shop so that they maybe don't have to put as much worry and anxiety into the process. You're there to help them out each and every step of the way.
We absolutely will, Annie. In fact, that has been what I've been doing all morning. So you can text, call, email, message us on social media is probably the best way. But we have a lot of men that will just message, hey, my wife's turning 40. She doesn't like this. She's into that. Here's my budget. And we will basically send a few different photos. They can approve it. We send them a link and we can even ship it out and sign the card, or they can pick it up on our porch.
That is lovely. Seams for the Soul Boutique in Edwardsville. Seamsforthesoul.com. Kara is the local owner working with other local businesses to give them a platform to sell their products. And it is all great stuff. And we wanted to feature you today. Kara, thank you so much for coming on. It's a real pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you reaching out to small businesses to feature them. We are so grateful for that, Annie. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kara. We'll be visiting very soon. You can go to seamsforthesoul.com to see their products. You can see their hours, their items, their location there in Edwardsville. And if you are a small business that would like 5 minutes or so to talk about what you're doing this Christmas to help people get the job done, we would love to talk to you. Message the Annie Frey Show Facebook page, and we will work on getting you featured as much as we can as we lead up to the holiday. We're going to take a quick break. Ryan, Katie, hot chocolate bombs sound like it's up your alley?
All in. All in. I think some of those.
I'm gonna have to go get some. I'm gonna have to go get some from Kara at Seams for the Soul and deliver them to you guys so you can taste them, because I haven't had one myself, but they look delicious and I felt like it's probably up your alley. So there are a little extra Baileys in there or something. I don't know. You can do what you want. Some honey snumpies. That's what I'm talking about.
A little extra Fitzpatrick's in there.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away.
Secrets you keep, the shine underneath of the diamond.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'd love to see.
Selling your home's a big deal. That's why you need to work with an agent you can trust. It will help you sell for the most money possible, especially in this hot market. Hey, Mark Cox here, letting you know that's why I trust and recommend Gloria Liu with GL International Realty, part of Coldwell Banker Premier Group. You've heard it before. Gloria has the buyers. What that means to you as a home seller is Gloria may already have your home's buyer. Gloria has thousands of ready-to-go buyers, which creates higher demand and many times multiple offers. Time after time, Gloria sells homes at record speed with full price offers. That helps you achieve your goals, whether it's moving out of state or into that dream home Gloria found you across town. Here's the best part. Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed-to price, or she'll buy it. Call Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com.
I'm listening daily. You are not alone. During these challenging times, listening is fundamental to promoting understanding and healing. Here's Nikki Six on helping people find recovery from addiction.
The problem with addiction is people don't want to talk about it. It's like, why don't you get your act together? Don't you know what you're doing to your mom? Well, you're going to let down your family. Do you think that really makes anybody want to find recovery? What that does is make people feel bad. When people feel bad, they go back to what feels good. I had a disruptive childhood, and when I found, starting with pot and later heroin, it made me feel good, but wasn't realize I was just covering up pain. Until we can help people find recovery, they're not going to deal with the pain. And then that's a long process, and that's what recovery is about.
Talk has the power to save lives, and you are not alone. Find out more at imlistening.org.
At GEHA, we believe that possible is for everyone because possible isn't perfect. It's progress and persistence. Fun and fulfilling. Whether it comes in giant leaps or small steps. And with a wide variety of medical and dental plans designed for federal employees and their families, GEHA is here to help. With open season happening until December 14th, now is the time to choose your possible. Learn more at GEHA.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
If it's happening here. In the world, the country, and the community. St. Louis's own 97.1 FM Talk.
Connection is made.
Call it magic.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy to be with you. Did you guys see this? Did you pay any attention to the Vanderbilt football game this weekend?
No.
Katie?
All I can do is laugh.
What was your favorite part about the Vanderbilt football game?
The ball being thrown.
Oh, that was a
from
good
this
part.
way to that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the ball being kicked?
No, not that.
Oh, yeah.
So they played Missouri. I thought maybe you guys might have known about it because it was a Missouri football game. So there's a woman named Sarah Fuller, and this is such an intriguing story to me. And the reason why, if you haven't heard about this yet, Sarah Fuller is an incredible athlete, and she plays on the Vanderbilt soccer team. Well, it turns out that Vanderbilt's football team had no kicker, and COVID came into play, and basically there was this vacancy, and so they needed a kicker. So they asked Sarah Fuller, who is on the Vanderbilt soccer team, to come in and be the kicker for this game. Now she kicked, I guess she did the kickoff. Yeah. This is according to, and I'm going to tell you right now that I've read Jason Whitlock's coverage of this on Outkick.com, and whew, if you haven't started following Outkick.com yet, I recommend you do so. It's a great place to take in sports in a very slanted, politicized world that it seems like everybody else has gone into. So according to Outkick.com, at the beginning of the second half of Vanderbilt's SEC football game against Missouri, Fuller trotted onto the field for the opening kickoff. She knocked the ball to the Missouri 37-yard line and immediately jogged to the sideline out of harm's way. Jason Whitlock's words, but not incorrect. So now the question is, was Sarah Fuller the best person for the job to fill that spot? Was it a publicity stunt? Was it something that was done in the name of equality? Was it just virtue signaling? Because boy, we've got enough of that these days. Was it good for the game? Was it good for women? What was the point of all of this? And it's very hard to see an instance like this outside of the lens of a culture war that we're constantly being thrust into with every social media comment that somebody or post that somebody puts up. And then, you immediately get people who push back and say, where's your evidence of this? And they're pushing you to, make a case that would stand up in court for an opinion that you have. And there's this idea that Sarah Fuller was breaking barriers or something when she kicked this ball because she's the first female to participate in an SEC football game, I assume. Maybe an NCAA football game. Well, here's the thing that frustrates me, because I think if she's the best person for the job and she got the opportunity to go out and kick this ball be the kicker for the game, she only kicked once because Vanderbilt got smoked. There were not other opportunities for this to happen. This isn't like a gender barrier breaking for me. Because she kicked, she didn't, normally if you watch football, that there's a possibility for someone to run a kickoff back for a touchdown. That's very exciting to watch, to see somebody go, the length of the field and to take it in the end zone. And you always see before that happens, you always see the like little scrawny kicker compared to the rest of the folks. He's not, if you walked past him in the grocery store, you'd probably think, wow, that's a big dude. But compared to the rest of the people on the football field, the kicker is lean, small, maybe quick, flexible. But it's not like the guys who are out on the field to tackle other men who are not lean and small. But it's always fun to watch the kicker try to make the last tackle to save somebody from running it back into the end zone after a kickoff. Well, she ran off the field. So I don't know that she, like, was she, if they would have run it back, would she have just been on the sideline waiting for, well, that's a touchdown, I guess you get the punter out here now. It bothers me. This doesn't have to be black and white. This doesn't have to be like, this was a terrible situation and it should never have happened, or this is the best thing for women's rights that has ever happened, and glass is everywhere. Wear your shoes, ladies. Don't step on the glass. It's everywhere on the floor. I mean, like, that's not happening. I'm not looking at it like it's only one or the other. But the thing that's frustrating to me is that while Sarah Fuller's name is forever going to be connected to being a female kicker in an SEC, that's a big deal for people who don't follow college football. It's the biggest deal, really, arguably. To go out there and be a female kicker and to do this, it is a thing. It is worthy of note. But it's not doing anything for women. And I'm saying that as a woman. I'm saying that as a woman athlete. I'm saying that as a 4-sport athlete my senior year in high school. And I was a very good athlete at a very small school. So that works out to like no college sports for me. I mean, I was adequate. Let's just put it that way. When you take a female off of a soccer field where she's playing, I don't know for sure, but probably from what I understand, she's one of the best that they've got. If she's there like on scholarship at Vanderbilt, that is a really big deal. That is very accomplished. That is very successful. And then you put her onto a football field with a bunch of men, and then are you judging her skills based on how well she plays football? Is her athletic career going to be judged based on this football moment? Or the amazing accomplishment that she's had being a part of the Vanderbilt soccer team where she is at the top of her game? That is a really big deal. The question is, if you have to put in gender into the issue, are you saying that it's more of an accomplishment for her to walk onto the field with men and kick a ball and then run to the sideline and not try to, stay and participate in the game, because once you kick the ball, the play is not dead yet. Is that a bigger accomplishment for her because she did it on a field with boys than it is for her to be a top-tier athlete on a women's soccer team? And I feel like every time we get into this idea of talking about athletics and men and women, we take women out of where they are competing on an actual equal, literal playing field, and we try to compare them to men, and we diminish everything that they've accomplished. The idea that women can do everything that men can do is factually incorrect. And I am here to tell you that men cannot do everything that women can do, nor do they want to. We're different people. We're different. We have different things to contribute. And I think about, I'm not mad that Sarah Fuller kicked this ball. Like, it doesn't make me mad that she participated in this game and went out there. And, I have not seen, maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I haven't seen Sarah Fuller, talking Hillary Clinton breaking glass. I don't think that she thinks that she's changed the world for gender stereotypes now. But I do see people, especially people who don't ever watch football, have anything to do with football, talking about how this is breaking barriers. College football is not going to be more successful. It's not going to be more interesting. It's not going to be more entertaining. It's not going to be better football if we start working more women into the game. It's just not. Now, if you get a woman in there who can play at the equal physical level of a man, I'd watch that. I'd want to know. People talk about baseball all the time. If you could get, if a team could get a female who could throw 100-mile-an-hour fastball and have a curveball as well, would they want to have that woman pitch on their team? Probably. I think that they probably would. And I've looked at the NFL. They're not very discerning on morals and standards and having a specific kind of person that qualifies to participate. They just want really good football players, the very best. And if it happened to be a woman who achieved that, okay. But when you consider the globbing on that society does to a situation like this, where a girl came off of a soccer team where she is very adequately placed and very accomplished and should be supported and lauded for her contributions to her school and to that soccer team because of her participation in it. And then you define an entire athletic career, especially from people who don't even really care about football. They care more about creating some type of cultural battle where they're talking about how Sarah Fuller is breaking barriers. I don't buy it. Now, I'm not going as far as Jason Whitlock says on Outkick. His headline is Sarah Fuller publicity stunt scores in Make-A-Wish culture war.
Whoa. Why? Yeah.
When you read through this is the extreme of what I'm saying here. But he makes a great point. The worst part about this that frustrates me the most is that in an effort for people to try to create an even more equal playing field for men and women, they are diminishing women on what they are truly accomplishing, and it's always in relativity to men. It diminishes the success that women can have. It diminishes what women are able to achieve on their own. In my opinion, greatness does not have to be gender neutral. We can accomplish great things as women. We can accomplish great things as men. But if a man accomplishes something great and a woman accomplishes something great, it doesn't inherently have to be measured against each other where everything is equaled out at the end of it to diminish what a man can achieve so that a woman can feel as though she's equal. I would not feel equal in that scenario. I don't want you to give me a handicap in life so that I can feel like I'm equal to men. I want to accomplish what I'm capable of accomplishing. I want to get where I'm capable of getting because I deserved it. And if that means that I'm second to a man in any particular situation, so be it. I mean, I'm not in arm wrestling competitions, and I could beat some men. I'm pretty strong. Ryan, you want to go?
No.
Virtual arm wrestling. Go.
No. I mean, I just think that these cultural battles that inject themselves on a Saturday when you're flipping through from like Real Housewives to some other trash television, and you're like, oh, there's a girl kicker. Oh my gosh, glass ceiling shattering everywhere. It's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't understand what you're applying yourself to. And it diminishes what she has actually done in her chosen athletic career. And also, if she was the best person for the job, like, this is where I'm kind of giving Sarah Fuller a little more credit than maybe Jason Whitlock is. It's not a bad thing that she did it, but let's keep it in the context of what it is. COVID had to ravage this football team for Sarah Fuller to be a kicker on it. And it was really great of her to step up and fill that spot.
I was thinking, Annie, whenever you were saying this too, what about like the second string and third kickers that have been waiting and going to practice every single day?
I think that they were all sick.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they were looking for somebody who could handle this. So.
I gotcha. Okay. I was like, if they all had COVID and they had to quarantine and everything, then I totally understand that. But this whole entire story, I'm like, aren't there people dedicated to, like, if the first string person can't make it, they go in, they fill in? But okay, that makes sense.
I actually like that. It makes it less of a publicity stunt, because then they actually just needed a kicker and they found the best one that they could find.
But they're not playing it that way.
Oh,
and the
Vanderbilt
Vanderbilt coach hasn't won a game this season and is going to get fired. So maybe this was the last ditch effort. Kev says they're basically saying she did a great job for a girl, and he says just kidding. But Kevin, I'm with you on that. I don't want to do a great job for a girl. Like, basically, they're saying she didn't get lit up. Well done. You're alive. Congratulations. I was talking with my husband about this. Let's say she stays on the field and the ball is getting run back and it looks like they're going to go to the house. The team that is on offense, the return team, their job is to block for the person who has the ball. When they see the woman on the field and it's time to block her, do they block her at a 7 instead of a 10 because she's a girl? Do they do an 11 out of 10 because she's a girl? The truth is that no matter what they do to her, it will be because she's a girl. It won't just be football. And if the part of the equation that really matters is her gender, then that's not equality. Equality is where you take the gender out and people get to compete on an equal playing field. I don't know. I just saw that and I thought, does not make this more than it really is. And Mizzou won the football game, so good for them.
I hadn't seen the story, but I had seen the movie She's the Man with Amanda Bynes, and I feel like there's a lot of parallels, so I felt like I knew what was going on.
I don't think that She's the Man is the appropriate correlation to what Miss Fuller here did, but I haven't seen the movie either. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna tweet out this Outkick link. So if you want to read Jason Whitlock's very bold take on this, you can let me know what you think. Stick around, Morning Frey Show when we come back.
And I can't get over.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone with 0% financing for 72 months and Carrier Cool Cash rebates on qualifying equipment when you purchase and install a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
An unprecedented year like 2020 calls for an unprecedented holiday offer from Diamonds Direct. So, for the first time ever during December, we're allowing 4 years zero-interest financing on anything and everything. It's our way of helping you make her holiday one to remember. Just pick any beautiful piece of jewelry, take the price, divide by 48, and that's your payment. A $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings is just $84 a month. And we have the gifts women love. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, all new fashion jewelry from top designers. And of course, the largest selection of engagement rings and certified diamonds in the country. After all she's been through in 2020, now's the perfect time to let her know how much you love her. Reward her with a gift that is romantic, timeless, and symbolic. And with 48 months zero-interest financing, you can afford to splurge. Diamonds Direct, helping you make that magical moment this holiday season. Shop online at diamondsdirect.com or in person in our showroom. Diamonds Direct.
Olive and 270 at City Place.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Foundation Recovery Systems. As a homeowner, it's inevitable that at some point you're going to face issues with your foundation or basement. And while you may think that you can't afford to fix these issues, in reality, you can't afford not to fix them. Without the proper repairs, problems with your foundation develop into more serious concerns such as cracks in your walls, uneven and sagging floors, and a leaking basement. They'll only get worse. If you want to avoid these kinds of costly problems in your home, you need to schedule your repairs now. And Foundation Recovery Systems is making it an easy and affordable as possible. They can ensure you're protected from problems like these for the lifetime of your home and restore your property's value and your peace of mind. Call today and receive $500 off your project. You can't afford to wait, so schedule a free, no-contact, no-obligation inspection today online at FoundationRecoverySystems.com. Foundation Recovery Systems has financing to fit your budget. Go to FoundationRecoverySystems.com for all the details or ask your inspector. That's FoundationRecoverySystems.com.
Even in these uncertain times, Missouri lawyers are here to help. If your income has been impacted by the current global crisis, or if you qualify as a low-income household, you can have your legal questions answered for free at missouri.freelegalanswers.org. You can ask up to 5 questions, and they'll be answered by a lawyer licensed in Missouri at no cost to you. Missouri lawyers want you to know you are not alone. Get free answers to your legal questions at missouri.freelegalanswers.org. Brought to you by the Missouri Bar.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
They went from winning by a lot to losing by a little.
What happens if after you've installed Joe Biden, we discover what they're saying is true? That's a constitutional crisis.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
I sure do like those Christmas cookies, sugar. I sure do like those Christmas cookies, babe. The ones that look like Santa Claus, Christmas trees and bells and stars. I sure do like those Christmas cookies, babe.
So you guys in the full Christmas spirit now? Is it Christmas all the time, everywhere? Yes.
Yeah, 100%. How about you?
Yeah. I don't have my Christmas tree up yet. That's all right.
So 90%.
We'll get there. We did put up some decorations. Yeah, we're working on it. I told my husband today, I think I'm okay with him not putting up lights on the house. And it's really because I don't want him to go up on the roof.
I remember that last year you were like,
and the year before that, and the year before that. I mean, at the first house we lived in, it was a 2-story house, but it wasn't as tall as the one we have right now. And last year, we lined the house, the house with lights. He did it down the other side, and we have a walkout basement. So it's like a 3-story fall. He's toast if he falls off there. I reached out to Element, who used to advertise with us, and they're great with lawn care and everything. Element Turf Solutions, I think. And I'm considering seeing if they want to come out and put up lights on our house, and I'm happy to pay them for them. But I don't know if Jared will let me do that. I don't know if he'll let me pay somebody else. It's like I'm infringing on his testosterone if I do that. That it will be like, I'm not paying some other man to come up on my house and do this. But I'm going to try to see if I can persuade him to do that. We'll see in about 5 seconds if he's listening to the show right now. Because if he is, this is brand new information to him. And I already have their contact and an email that tells me how it works.
That's a real quandary that you've put him in, because there are 2 things competing within every man. One is, I don't want to do anything. The other is, but if I get a chance to go on a roof, I'm going to take that chance almost every time.
My husband is not an I don't want to do anything type of guy. He is a busybody. He is a busy bee. It's funny because he's so much like his father in that way, but he always used to make fun of his dad for not being able to sit still. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're your father. You've become your dad, and he just can't manage to sit still. He's always doing things. He's always going, like, running errands that I didn't know that we need to run or whatever. He's always about the place. I am the one who doesn't want
to go anywhere and do anything. I just want things to get done. And if that means that I can pay somebody to do it and keep my husband and the father of my children safe from falling off the roof, I'm there for it. But I don't know if he's going to buy it.
The problem with getting on the roof, at least for me, now maybe roofs are different and maybe your husband's different, but
maybe people are different.
Maybe all people are different and everybody makes different choices for themselves. I don't know.
Everybody isn't just like Ryan Lance.
But let's say that they are.
Okay. For the sake of this conversation.
The problem with getting out on your roof, whether it be to put Christmas lights up or to fix something, which I don't usually put lights up that involve me getting on my roof, but I have fixed things on my roof. It sounds like a blast, but then you realize how steep your roof is.
Yeah.
And it is, you get out there and you're like,
whoa.
Oh man, my wife and kids are all watching me because this is some kind of event.
He won't let me stay outside. He forbids me to stay outside. Like first year that we were in that house, we had a loud fight, but he was on the roof and I was in the driveway sitting in a chair just watching him. He's like, go in the house.
Were you a nervous wreck?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm prepared to catch this man if he falls.
Yes. Yeah.
I know it's ridiculous, but I feel like maybe if he doesn't see something and I see it, I could tell him and be helpful.
Helpful.
Watch out for those shingles.
Men everywhere rolling their eyes right now in unison.
Yeah. No, that just makes it worse is when somebody's watching you who's nervous, you feel like, uh-oh, now I really got to be careful because if I make one false step, even if I slip just a tad bit, nobody would have known. But when everybody's watching, then it was, oh, I almost died.
And I think that if he were to slip and if I were to go, oh my gosh, watch out, that would maybe save him and not scare him more into falling off the
I
roof.
think you might be wrong.
I know I'm not helpful.
Watch out.
Man, my wife does that in the car. In the car, if I'm driving and I look away for half a second and the person in front of me starts to brake, she's like,
well, don't look away for half a second. That's your problem.
No. I drive quite a bit without my wife and don't get in accidents. So it's not that she's
not
yelling
concerned about that.
Stop.
She's concerned about when she's in the car.
I'm
and your
aware.
children. Katie, did you say David is that way to you?
Yes.
Or you're that way to David?
No, I'm very rarely that way to David. David is 100%.
You're a good passenger.
I am. There's times that I catch myself like doing that, and David's like, shh, quiet. But most of the time when I'm driving, David's like, whoa, Nelly, we're in for a treat. He does not like driving.
Is he right or is he over anxious?
Both. It's both. There's sometimes that he's very right. There's sometimes that he's very, very right, but I'm not going to say he's right. And then there's other times that he's just like blowing things way out of proportion, like we all do from time to time. I wanted to tell you, Annie, that I tried to put the Christmas lights on my house last year.
How'd that go?
I didn't go on the roof or anything. I just tried to sprinkle them places.
You just kind of threw them around on the house.
I just was like, tra-la-la-la-la-la, throw them here.
Let's put lights here.
And my husband came back. This is when he was at Menards still. He came back from working like a 10 or 11 hour day and he saw the atrocity that was he was like, what did you do? I'm like, it wasn't going to get done. I decided to take initiative. What do you think? And
did he fix them?
No. He just kept them there. And he's like, yeah,
see?
Exactly. And I'm like, you can't say anything about it if you didn't do anything about it.
See, what you did there is, I'm going to let you men in on a little secret, is what a lot of women will do to get it done right. You throw stuff out there and you're like, isn't it lovely? And they're like, no, it looks like crap. And then you're like, fine, I'll fix it.
Oh, we're aware of that.
David said that.
Yeah, but you can't stop yourself. You can't help yourself.
That's exactly
it doesn't matter if you know in the moment that it's happening. It's the fact that, generally speaking, David seems to be an outlier in this scenario, that men will go, oh, I'll just do it myself. And then we're like, we know.
Perfect.
That usually comes with money in my family. Can we buy this? I don't think so. Okay, well, I'll just save up with my own little pittance that you give me and I'll buy it then. All right, fine, I'll just buy it.
Who does that?
My wife does that to me. When we're discussing purchases, she shames me into just buying whatever she wants.
Did you say the pittance that you give her?
Yeah, she has an allowance because I handle the budget.
I can't even handle this right now. She has a job.
We're all aware.
I'm going to call your wife and talk to her about Sarah Fuller. and where women are these days.
Yeah.
That's
and
right,
what
yeah.
they've
Break
done
that glass
and what
ceiling.
they've
You just say
accomplished.
Vanderbilt, and she's going to be on it.
Well, did you see that Mizzou football game this weekend? 41 and
She actually went to Mizzou and probably had no idea that happened.
Let's talk about that kicker. No, I've told the story before, but the best way to get anything, like any jar, bottle, anything open, is just to go in the presence of a man and be like, this is like, you could pick it up for the first time. You don't even have to try to open it. You'd be like, this is impossible to open. And all the men are like, open that. And then they like break beads of sweat trying to open it, but it gets open. If you need the bottle of wine open, that's how you do it. And at the end, if you get wine, did you lose? No, you won. You won a battle of wits, not strength, but you weren't playing that battle.
It works that way with moving things too. And if you have a teenager, it's the best, because if you say, man, I don't know if I could move this, teenagers always want to prove that they're strong, so they will move anything you want.
Really? I don't know these teenagers. Teenagers are the men that you talked about before. Teenagers don't want to do anything.
Yeah, my parents were like, you're helping or else you're grounded.
Carlo says on Facebook, allowance? Really, Wiggins? Do you really give her an allowance?
Yeah, we agree on it. It's not something that I'm like, here's what we're going to do.
Do you have
She's
an
like,
allowance?
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm so budget conscious that I would never spend what she spends in a month regardless. So
do you have an allowance?
I don't ever hit her allowance, so I don't really need one.
So you have an allowance, you just don't overspend it.
Yes, I would say that's correct.
Which sounds way less terrible than you giving your wife an allowance, who is a working woman.
Yeah, I would say that it does sound better, but you know how much I care about optics.
Okay. All righty. Ladies, look what you missed.
Look at that. Look what you missed out on.
What was it? You started playing a bad song on guitar because you lied to her about knowing how to play guitar,
Man
and
Who
you really
Sold the
didn't?
World.
That's how you got
for
her?
a long time, yeah.
Man, magic in that guitar. We'll be back tomorrow. DGS up next.
Win enough cash for a tropical vacation, a new car, or a new entertainment system.